What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it, Tuesday night? Must be the Tuesday night Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. Looks like the chat is getting busy in here already tonight. Chef Rico, Rosie, Trudeau Survivor, Radio Streamer. How you guys all doing? Good to see you guys. And Turtles, too. I didn't forget about you. Dramus, good to see you in there. Man, everybody's showing up on time tonight. This is fantastic. So, as everybody knows, we stream on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, on Locals, and the first like of the stream gets normally double good karma. So every like gets good karma. It's also as well when you subscribe to the channel, which everybody should do. But the first gets double, and sometimes I make it triple or even quadruple. Last night it was a premium only stream on Rumble. We did quadruple for the first one. So Chef Rico's got the first. I'm saying triple, a treble good karma. Who got the second? Who got number two? Number two gets double good karma. And number three, I'm going to say gets 1.5. And number four gets 1.25. There we go. And then everybody else gets one, but it's still a very healthy share of good karma. Now, I know there's some dingbats out there who don't like the stream. And do you ever ask yourself, you're going through your week and you're like, why does my week suck so bad? I've been hitting traffic and stuff. I've been waiting for some money to come through. It hasn't come through. Well, did you like the stream? Have you been liking the stream? No? Well, then it's your own damn fault. There we go. Because you didn't get that beautiful, beautiful good karma. The best good karma. What are you guys talking about? Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat before we get started on the menu and figuring out what we're talking about tonight. Trudeau Survivor says, I saw a screen, no comments in chat, be the first, and I choked. Well, you weren't the first, you did choke. Next time you'll be ready. How you doing, Rosie? Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, I'm excited for some they-them energy. They-them energy. Well, it's Tuesday night. So it's the Tuesday night they-them energy. It's very exciting. You guys let me know when you want to see it. When we're running low on energy, we'll have to do that. Let's see. Chef Rico says, Shalom, you must be a right-wing nut. That is not the same world I grew up in. Radio Streamer says, I am also incredibly tired. Already? Really? We're doing this already? I'll tell you what. Have you tried some coffee? A couple of double espressos? Smoke some crack? Some of that good blue crystal meth? Have you tried chewing on a dinosaur? Not a dinosaur. A dinosaur? No. A polar bear adrenaline gland. Have you tried that? You have? It still didn't work? Well, I don't know. Here you go then.
They, them, energy.
And teapot. There you go. I hope everybody's gassed up now with that precious, precious, powerful, powerful they-them energy. They-them energy. It's really very silly, I think. I think the whole thing's very silly. Very silly indeed. Let's see. Chef Rico's got a 6-year-old kid, so perpetually tired. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Well, you just got gassed up with your they-them energy, so you're all right now. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, what does the whale icon mean? What does the whale icon mean? I think that is Lizzo. Let's see. All right, now you guys are arguing about or talking about icons. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let's see. Purple. Rosie says purple crown must mean Richie is king. I think it must mean that. I need to add some more emoticon things. I don't know, whatever they are, those things that you put in the chat. I need to add some more. I did some like ages ago, and I always forget. All right, let's go through. Turtle's 4th like. That's 1.25 likes for you. All right. Jeffrico says beer 30 is a time of day when you start drinking beer. Very well. Sounds healthy. Bump was the SNL skit from yesterday, Shrimp. That's right. A little bump after a couple of beer. Let's see. Holy, the chat is going crazy. All right. So, and Teapot Radio Streamer says, I know. We always look forward to that. All right. So, what are we talking about? Let's get to the menu. So, we're going to talk about this again. Now, I actually rarely anymore ever write anything down for a stream. Maybe like occasionally like a joke I scrawled and then like can't read it anyway. But for this, I had some ideas. I want to write it down. It's still a little bit fragmentary. I just kind of scrawled it out. I just want to have something to work off of. So this is going to be a special treat. It's kind of like I'm kind of semi-prepared for what I want to say about this. But we're going to get back into this again. And of course, we're going to deal with some Canada stuff and just the lunacy. There's lots of stuff in here. We are going to, Canada's woke. Canada is woke. It's crazy woke at this point. I don't know what's going on. Canada stuff. Let's see. We've got an insane amount. Hold on. I hate it when it does this. It blocks the new data reveals 19% of private sector jobs are now filled by temporary foreign workers in Canada. That's crazy. 1 in 5 jobs is now a temporary foreign worker. This is all engineered. It's insane. You've got thousands of people lining up for like 20 jobs. This is lunacy. It's madness. It continues. Heedless, crazy. It continues. This is the state of Canada. This is what you get when you elect a Mark Carney, liberal, globalist. Let's see. What's going on here? So I've got a new tab, which is American Islam, and we'll just kind of keep a tabs on how things are going. We've got some woke mind virus here. Here's a paper called, hold on. This is a paper published by Duke University. It's called Black Anality. Black Anality. Apparently, it argues that black and anal are rendered ideologically, discursively, and representationally synonymous, and that black female flesh becomes the material space on which this convergence occurs. If you're wondering what that means, it means nothing. It's just a word salad of gibberish. We'll take a look at that. Let's see what else we got going on here. All right. So John Brennan, I think he's going to be in big trouble, John Brennan. I think so. Stuff keeps coming out. It's just not looking good for him. And by the way, I there's a little secret about this guy that you don't really hear that much, but it won't be surprising to you, but I'll save that for later. We only have one meme, I think. Only one meme. Do we only have one? I think we just have one. So, I don't know. I didn't do any work looking for memes. All right. We've got the UK. Here's a UK patriot. Apparently, the Union Jack now is considered racist in the UK. Like it's kind of semi-officially considered racist by like the police and the government there. Very, very strange. We've got... So Elizabeth Warren has jumped on the Zoran train. Yeah, she's going. I mean, we always knew she was a commie, but she's just now outed herself as just a full-on, straight-up commie. Zoran is a commie. We'll take a look at that, and we'll also take a look at just what she supports, because it's bananas. Here we have a detransitioned girl telling her story, and then all of the crazy people that don't care. So interesting. All of the ideologues, all of the woke mind virus zombies who just do not want to hear it. They do not want to be confronted by reality. And then we have the last tab of the evening, in which we've got a bunch of random stuff all mixed up in here. That's Big Balls. He got attacked trying to protect a woman in D.C., and it turns out he's even more of a hero than we thought. Here's some stuff you guys sent me. I haven't even watched this. I didn't have time to watch these, so I just went, well, I guess I'll trust everybody. Lots of random stuff in here, and that'll be good times. Everybody's going to have a good time. Super fun. And yeah, let's get back to the chat, and then we shall start. Oh, chocolate. All right. Got to do the chocolate. We did the they, them energy. Hold on. Let's get some chocolate in. Let's get some chocolate all up in here. Let's do that right now. How about chocolate? I say chocolate. Chocolate cake. That's how I say it. I don't know how you guys say it. I say chocolate. Ever since I saw that movie, look at that delicious chocolate. Look at it. That is fantastic. What is this here? Is that one of those almond roca things? It looks like almond roca. It looks like cat poo in the cat litter. That's what almond roca looks like to me. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm crazy about this one now, because that grossed me out. What's going on here? Some sort of chocolate cake. Ooh, yes, that looks very rich. Okay, that's a lot of chocolate there. Everybody satisfied? Can we move on? All right, let's do it. All right, now what are you guys talking about? What kind of crazy, degenerate gibberish are you guys babbling about in the chat? Let's take a look. La 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 la. Jamis Eves was first on YouTube, so you also get triple good karma, because it's on any platform that you get the rewards. I think you can stop worrying about how your week is going to go with all that good karma. Let's see. Chef Rico asks, why does your government hate you? Because they're evil, I think. Evil technocrat globalists. That's what I think. Chef Rico says, black anality sounds dirty. You know, it's just insane is what it is. Chef Rico, so is St. George's flag. St. George's flag. They think that's racist as well. They really hate that one over there. It's just madness. They have to reclaim their country and then start a big program of remigration. That's now becoming a topic there. Rosie says, chocolate cakes 10 out of 10. Jonas Rice says, that's some high quality chocolate. Rosie says, yes, I do have to be bratty and keep screaming chocolate. You got it. All right. Do not have to be bratty. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't even understand you people. All right. I guess we'll just get started in on the news. Chantouille, people. All right. So there you go. There's the Prime Minister of Canada. Everything's going just great. There he is. Where else is he? He's over here too. Let's see. There he is. He's there as well. There's the Prime Minister of Canada out in public hugging a man in a thong. So everything's going great in Canada. But to me, it's so striking. These pictures are so striking because it really does feel very symbolic, doesn't it? And I was thinking, what is this symbolic of? Well, I think these photos kind of perfectly represent just the state of the Canadian matriarchy, because that's what Canada has. As much as the left will scream and cry and rant about the patriarchy in Canada, scream and rant and cry about the patriarchy in Canada, we do not have a patriarchy. We have a matriarchy. Right? Mark Carney is not a patriarchal figure. He is an agent of the all-consuming, smothering mother state. Right? They're all his children. This is one of his children here. Right? And he's going to love them no matter what. right? Does he have any accomplishments as prime minister? No, nothing to speak of. Just a long series of failures. But in terms of reputation management, because this is a matriarchy, keep in mind. So it's all about social standing and reputation and image, because that is typically the power that women wield, right? They attack each other's reputations, right? Women are not they're not typically physically aggressive like men are. Of course, some are. We're only talking about averages here, right? But it's usually gossip. It's usually reputational damage. So Mark Carney has no accomplishments as prime minister. It's just been a big nothing or just a big failure. But in terms of image, reputation management, wokeness, yes, he's achieving that. This achieves that, right? So in the matriarchy, reputation management is everything. So here he is letting us know that while life gets worse in Canada, just by literally every objective metric, the abstract is well in hand, right? The abstract empathy and compassion that he represents, the motherly empathy that he represents, that's well in hand. That's why he does this, right? Empathy, diversity. So these are, so we are to be empathy, diversity, right? Canadians are to be slaves to these, unexamined and abstract, essentially calls to prayer. We have to worship it. We have to worship diversity. Mark Carney told us it's very important in Canada, whatever it means. Let's take a look. This was during the campaign.
There's a fever gripping America. And while it rages, Canadians will remain resolute and true to our values. While America engages in a war on woke, Canadians will continue to value inclusiveness.
Yes, inclusiveness. It's one of those magic words. What does it mean exactly? It's kind of just an abstract word that can mean whatever Mark Carney wants it to mean, right? When here he is signaling to us that Canada has a new mother figure. Mother Trudeau is gone. Mother Carney is here. And he'll just tell you whatever you want to hear so that you don't feel bad. Unless he doesn't like you. Then we might hear something. So he's talking about inclusiveness, the things that he supports. So let's see some of his inclusiveness. How about this?
Death to Canada! Death to the United States! And death to Israel!
So, yes, inclusiveness doesn't include in Canada Christian singers from the United States. Does include this. This is some of the inclusiveness that we've come to, that we're really appreciating in Canada. Jihad is our path, they're saying. Huh, nice. Our purpose is Allah. Jihad is our path. This is some of that Carney inclusiveness that we're all supposed to enjoy. Imams giving essentially hate-filled speeches, right? Let's see. This guy's pretty good because he lets us know that when he gets his way, the Jews will be destroyed. So that's nice. Here's some inclusivity for us. This is what Mark Carney has told us that he's going to preserve. Some of this blocking the streets for calls to prayer, these demonstrations of power and dominance. Let's see. You can have the Awakening, the Ummah and the End of Times Canadian tour from a radical Islamist imam. This is some of that. Mark Carney lets us know where he stands.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
And voila, there you have your inclusiveness. Here's this Canadian imam on Vancouver Island who says he wants to force women to wear hijabs. inclusiveness, diversity. These are our values, Mark Carney tells us. These are our values. What other values do we have, or what other inclusiveness do we have that's not at all insanely dysfunctional? Ontario must pay for surgery to give trans resident both a wiener and a beaver. So this is some of that inclusiveness. Why the public should have to pay for this, I guess, abomination? I don't know, but I guess I do know. It's because of inclusiveness, the inclusiveness that Mark Carney tells us of. Let's see. How about this? Inclusiveness is it's a privilege, not a right, to know your kid's gender identity. So this stems from Canada being a place where teachers can just tell your kid they're born in the wrong body, trans them. Nobody has to tell you anything because, according to the Toronto Star, it's a privilege, not a right, to know that your school is essentially abusing your child. So this is all of the great inclusiveness that we can enjoy so much. Now, I say that he's a matriarch. He's not a patriarch, right? He's an inclusive matriarch. And you can tell this just simply from the way that he deals with the world around him. It's a very feminine approach. Let's listen to this. Here he is being asked by Rosemary Barton, who managed to summon, I don't know, like 10 seconds of, real journalist out of herself to ask Mark Carney a question. Let's see his response, and it's quite telling.
It's very difficult.
She's asking him about his obvious conflicts of interest. Let's hear how he deals with it.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary. I mean, you start from a prior of conflict and ill will.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary. So what is this? Look inside yourself, Rosemary. It's a fundamentally feminine appeal to just emotion and reputation. It's not that she's wrong, factually. No, it's that the question itself is, emotionally, socially, morally wrong. She shouldn't be asking that question. She has to look inside of herself. Is it even right to ask that question? It doesn't matter if she's right. No. It's about feelings, right? This is passive aggressive. This is matriarchal. Now let's go to Pierre Poilievre with the very famous apple munching video. Let's see how he handles this.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
He's not asking this journalist to look inside himself, right? He's not making some moral plea. He's just demanding reality. He's just demanding accountability from this journalist. Let's continue.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing, I mean, it's that type of ideological spectrum.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know something.
See, this is a very different approach. Again, it's not an appeal to emotion or, some kind of vague, moral, not some sort of vague, moralistic appeal. This is just, no, I reject your premise. No. Explain yourself. No. This is very different, right? This is actually patriarchal, and it's good, and we need more of this. So, Pierre Poilievre is direct and to the point. right? You've made a claim. What is your evidence? No appeals to empathy. It's not that asking a question is mean or wrong, but the substance of the question is false. You've made a statement. He's making fact statements, this journalist. Pierre Poilievre is just rejecting the premise outright. He's not making an appeal to him to come in to the fold, to the matriarchal fold, right? It's just, no, you're wrong. That's it. I don't care how you feel. Put up or shut up. Objectivity matters, right? That's what this is about. And there is not a hint. There's not an atom of passive aggression. There is not an iota of passive aggression in sight in this. It's nowhere to be seen. You're wrong. No. See, this is actually real and constructive. Everybody knows where everybody stands here. It's useful, right? The truth matters more than feelings. Reality matters. That's what you see from this. You know, Mark Carney is not accomplishing anything substantive in Canada. What he's doing is solving emotional and abstract problems. You know, what feels good to say? What looks good? What has social value? You know, that is the coin of the realm now, right? The conservative position is, you know, the conservative position is, okay, so what must be done for, you know, the objective economic and societal good of Canadians in real terms, right? Like jobs, right? A GDP per capita, this sort of thing. It's not just appeals to emotion and, you know, suggestions, hints that, well, you may be unfashionable if you disagree with me, or if you have too many uncomfortable questions. This is the Liberal Party to a T for the last decade, and it continues on heedless with Mark Carney. You know, with Mark Carney, it's what story about ourselves and the world feels best. Has anybody seen anything else? You know, what story can we tell ourselves that feels the nicest? And let's just pretend that that's true. Pierre, the conservative position? These are the realities on the ground right now, right? They are measured in objective terms. Like, how much money are people making? What are rents? What is the population? Right? Can we handle the population? How many housing units are there? These are all real objective things. You know, what can we realistically accomplish? Actual concrete things. We're not interested in emotional fairy tales about a world that doesn't exist. Like, if you want to ask yourself, you may ask yourself, who is more entrenched in reality and real concrete concerns and solutions? The guy hanging out with a guy with a dog, the guy hanging out with a guy with a dog fetish, and the man at the Pride Parade walking around in a thong, or Pierre Poilievre? I think we know. So this is where we find ourselves. It really is a kind of a deep philosophical dichotomy. There's a chasm here between, you know, the feminist leftist psyche that belongs to people like Mark Carney and obviously Justin Trudeau, which is concerned with reputation, with how you look, with saying the right thing, with the illusion of virtue and social standing at all times. That's what this is about, right? He's failing, but he knows this will help him with his crowd, right? So the parasitized brain will see this and like it more than we would probably want to admit in Canada. So you have the modern conservative in Canada, and where do we have him? Hold on. Where do we have Pierre again? So you have the modern conservative in Canada, and he has to stand against the media, every institution, every expert on diversity or hate or any other of the kind of any of the other woke clergy that they trot out onto the CBC and throw at him. He has to face down all of this and say, I don't care if you hate me, if you call me names, if I am deeply unfashionable. I don't care. I am right and you are wrong, and this country has suffered by every single important metric because of your delusions and your reckless pursuit of false virtue. And this must stop. That is what he's doing. And when enough people do that, the left is disarmed, because the social shaming, all that, it just simply doesn't work anymore. The shroud is lifted off people's minds, and they're free to think about the real world again. And will this man push enough people there? Well, time will tell. I mean, Canada might just be San Francisco now. It sure looks like it is right now, doesn't it? Because I'm telling you, even Justin Trudeau wouldn't have been foolish enough to, I'm not even going to say foolish, because I think this probably will work for him in the short term. But even Justin Trudeau wouldn't have been shameless enough to have a picture like this taken of himself, or this one, just simply because he's a world leader, just simply for being a world leader and being on the world stage. Even Trudeau wouldn't. And Trudeau's photos from Pride are plenty embarrassing. Not this bad. All right, so there we got that done. So that's, yeah, I just wanted to break down this kind of, to break down how the matriarchy in Canada works. And I think we've seen that. All right. Let's penis and vagina at the same time. What is wrong in Canada? What is wrong in Canada? God knows. Maybe we'll have to keep coming back to that one. I don't know. Anyway, let's actually, do we have anything else on Mark Carney here? All right. I think we do. Some other stuff. So, actually, let's get back to the chat for a second. Hold on. I'm going to have to get rid of a couple of these here, because I think that we got too many open. All right, here we go. All right, let's get back to the chat for a second. Whoa! Something crazy is happening. What is happening? Spambot fodder is going nuts again. Spambot fodder. Well, I mean, we know the score right now, don't we? So Spambot is gifted a membership, channel membership to Chef Rico. He's also gifted one to JJ Nevada as well. This is a beautiful thing, people. This is beautiful. You know what that means? So whoever you thought in history, like any figure from history that you really admired or whatever, Alexander the Great, I don't know. I'm here to tell you, compared to Spambot fodder, human garbage. Complete Michelangelo, human garbage. Einstein, human garbage. Compared to Spambot, that's 2 more memberships. I think we must be in the 80s by now of memberships. This is the best thing anybody can do for my channel. I am truly grateful for it. Thank you, Spambot. One more time. And all for less than the price of alligator Alcatraz. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? A beautiful thing. Spambot's number 1. All right. And while we're doing this, everybody should subscribe to the channel. Everybody should subscribe to the channel and also like the stream because you get free good karma and it's awesome. And what else do we do on this channel? We read ads. We read mother hugging ads. Let's do it right now. It's fun. Quick pause to tell you about Pickax, the creator and user-first platform built for people, not algorithms. I'm signing up right away. You know what big tech is up to? Data mining, bot-driven feeds, black box, AI deciding who sees your work. They even give your info to like commies and stuff. Can you believe that? Instead, Pickax hands you an algorithm-free chronological feed with native Rumble playback. That's right, native Rumble playback. That's sweet, people. That's sweet for all you beautiful, beautiful Rumble users. Auto-publishing of your live streams. That sounds nice. Free blue check verification. Free? What? You don't get that everywhere. And full monetization control. Your voice, your rules. I like the sounds of that because I'm a control freak. Best of all, the web version is live right now, and their iOS and Android apps drop next month. I am shaking in anticipation, and I mean it. I love this. I'm getting on this. On Pickax, your Rumble videos play seamlessly right in your feed as if they were built into the platform. No, there's no way that could be. Seriously, it has to be true. They couldn't say it. No embeds, no workarounds, just smooth native playback. So all this integration with Rumble, what's happening? This is beautiful. The world is healing. Even better, in beta now, creators can connect their Rumble channel to Pickax to automatically post live streams and videos so your followers never miss a moment. I think we all need to get on top of this, people. I'm definitely getting on top of this. All this integration with Rumble, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Man, I bet you when the commies hear about this, they're never going to stop crying. You can also write full articles. I mean, they could be on it too, though, is the thing. And then they'll cry on there, and then we'll laugh at them. You can also write full articles directly on Pickax today. Full articles. I like the sounds of that. And later this year, you'll be able to blast them out as email newsletters with one click and build up your own email list for direct audience access. This is sounding better and better. Monetize on your terms through paywalls, revenue sharing, or affiliate ads that auto-insert promo codes and tracking links. My God, this is almost too much for me to handle. And because bots shouldn't steal the spotlight, because bots are constantly trying to steal your spotlight, and I think a lot of them are actually commies. Shouldn't steal your spotlight. Pickax hands you a free blue check so everyone knows it's really you. And you're beautiful, and everybody should know. Pickaxe is building tech that builds up humanity. Builds it up, unlike those dirty commies. Algorithm-free, noise-free, human first. That's just the way I like it. Head to pickaxe.com. Sign up and take your platform to the next level. Real voices deserve a real home. That's Pickaxe, Pickax.com. Pickax.com. Pickaxe.com. You know what to do. Some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful commie hate in that one. Absolutely beautiful. Let's see. I had another thing written down. Hold on, I've forgotten. I was going to do this. Here we go. We have to go back here. I wrote a couple of things. I rarely write anything down for the streams anymore. It's normally just right off the top of my head. But I wrote down a couple of things. Here's something I wrote down. Part of the big problem with this is that a world leader needs to have some decorum. He needs to maintain some decorum. Like, he needs to be respected, right? So I don't feel like this, hanging out with his friend. Did he meet him at the dog park? I don't know. They're pretty chummy, though. Or thong in public guy, right? It's kind of, I mean, what do world leaders think when they see this. I mean, somebody's shown this to Trump, right? What did Trump say? I knew he was gay. Nobody has a gaydar like Donald Trump. I can always tell. And he's gay. He's a gay. It's proven beyond any doubt. But not a great gay. America has the great gays. The greatest gays. The best gays in the world. Big, beautiful gays. Canada, not so much. They're not sending their best gays. Sad Canadian gays. If Canada was the 51st state, they could have a great gay governor, the best gay governor. Not sending their best, though. Not sending their best. So that is all of the comedy for tonight. All of it. I got nothing left, people. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Let's see. Reviews of the ad. Rosie says, Pickax ad, nicely read. Commie hate, great adaptation. Some growls, 10 out of 10. I did trip over my tongue a few times. I don't know what happens sometimes. I'm kind of retarded. Radio streamer, I see that. Commie hate you added. 9.5 out of 10. Good read. Acceptable levels of commie hate. Well, thank you. So I got a 10 out of 10 from Rosie. 9.5 out of 10 from streamer. That's pretty good. Let's Chevrigo says, who cares if they use it? I'm all for free speech. Pickaxe, let's go. Well, some will go on there, and of course they're allowed to be on there. Turtle says, good ad read, 10 out of 10. Commie gets nothing. Commie gets nothing. All right. Chevrigo says, great read, Mr. Rich. Well, thank you very much. All right. Let's go back a little bit. And Chef Rico says, I just paid $800 to renew my registration for my truck, then $60 for a smog check on a diesel truck. These libtards can go self-replicate. Except they don't do that, do they? They don't seem to want to do that. Chevrigo says, I hate living in southern Canada. I mean, California. What does freedom smell like, Rosie? Well, Rosie's in Tennessee, so she knows what it's like. Rosie says, Marx is passive-aggressive. Poilievre is smart, mature, strong, direct. Yeah, well, again, Marx Carney, or some people call him Marx Carnage in the chat. He's the representative of the patriarchy, or sorry, of the matriarchy. Poilievre is the representative of the patriarchy. So it's totally different approaches. Let's see. Rosie says, Marx is a condescending, nasty jerk. But yeah, he's passive aggressive. And just that pathetic, like, appeal to look inside yourself. Like, it's actually wrong. It's morally wrong to ask him a question that he doesn't like. Look inside yourself, Rosie. Chevrigo says, I know now Trump doesn't take his call. I wonder if the Alberta minister does. I wonder if Mark Carney wears his dog mask thing when he calls. I don't know. That'd be creepy, though. Trudeau Survivor says, that would be hilarious if it was Trudeau in the mask. Is it? Is that Trudeau? It might be. It might be. Although I think he's doing backup dancing for Katy Perry now, so he's probably pretty busy. Trudeau Survivor asks, when does Carney start his photo shoot posing with crackheads on East Hastings Street? Soon, I'm sure. I'm sure that's up next. Rosie says, is that Trujina in the mask with Marx? You guys were all, that didn't occur to me, but you guys were on top of that. All right. Let's see. Mine's in the gutter. Turtles asked, do we get a poem on Friday for Carney? Should I bring back Well, it wouldn't be Grok versus Trudeau. It would be Grok versus Carney. Should I start bringing that back? I don't know. I got to wait a little bit longer because once I start doing it, I got to do it every Friday till he's no longer in power. And I think he's going to be in there for a while. Turtle says the mask is they, them energy. It sure is. All right. All right. Let's see. Trudeau survivor. Trump talking about gays makes me laugh. It is funny. I knew he was gay. I knew it. Not sending their best gays from Canada. Not the best. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. What do we got going on next? Pierre Poilievre. Let's see what Pierre has to say. Now once he's back in Parliament, that's when he's really going to shine. But right now he's doing a great job. He's putting out clips and he's on social media. That's about as much as he can really do right now. But I'm very much looking forward to him getting back into Parliament, winning the by-election, getting back into Parliament, and just roasting Carney. If Carney bothers to show up, is the thing. So Pierre Poilievre says, we forced Mark Carney to admit he was wrong about his carbon tax. Yes, that's something that Mark Carney stole. Of course, his plan was to get that back in spades from the polluters, as he calls them, which everybody else would just call them businesses and Canadian industry. But he did steal that to cynically win the election. It was a cynical ploy, and it did work for him. Mark Carney says governments could help to build the change. Governments could help to build the charging infrastructure, and introduce policies to incentivize EV purchases, such as regulation that mandates EV sales by a specific date. This is from his book Values, which was published in, I think, 2022. Right now, there is an EV mandate in Canada, and in fact, I have a bookmark for it. I should probably bring that up. Let's just do that. Hold on. Because we might as well go into that a little bit. We might as well go into some of the details. Where is it? Shouldn't be too long, folks. I'll be right back. Let's see. Where is it? It's down here somewhere. Where is it? It's not this one, is it? No, that's not it. All right, hold on. I've got so many. There we go. Okay, I've got so many bookmarks now. So where is... Hold on a second. I think I have something that in here that explains it quite well. Let's go down a little bit. All right. So Canada will require all new cars to be zero emissions vehicles by 2035. So that means not even hybrids. Everything's got to be a zero emission vehicle. So you won't be able to buy even a hybrid by 2035. This starts in 2026. They are just legislating that car dealerships have to somehow make 20% of their inventory sold EVs, zero emission vehicles, starting 2026. And then it creeps up each year to 2035 when you won't be able to buy a gas and, an internal combustion engine car vehicle anymore in Canada. So this is insanity, obviously, right? I believe the estimates are that it would take 14 massive nuclear reactors to power all of these. And then, of course, there's all the problems with the fact that Canada's very cold and huge. People have to drive long distances, and these things don't work very well in the cold. They lose a lot of their range. A lot of them are losing up to 40% of their range when it's -7. These things are not great for Canada. This is not going to work. And of course, there's the issue of people in apartments. Where are they going to charge their car? right? The waiting times to charge. You can't just go and charge one of these things up in a few minutes like you can do with your car, with gas, right? There's all of these logistical issues. This thing is just looking to be an utter and total disaster. So, hold on, where's that? And Mark Carney has been talking about Mark Carney has been talking about this for a long time. This is a Trudeau program, but Mark Carney has been advising him since 2020 at least. So when I talk about how Mark Carney's fingerprints are all over Trudeau's policies, this is what I'm talking about. Right? Do you think Trudeau came up with that by himself? Come on. Guy's barely got 2 brain cells to rub together. Pierre Poilievre says, now we must admit he was wrong about his gas vehicle ban. Will he do that? Will he do that? I wonder what people say underneath. We need to get him out as fast as possible. That's a great idea. Let's see. What's this? Loot credit. You have not forced anything. Carney is quite capable of changing course to adapt to changing, blah, blah, blah. He stole removing the carbon tax from Pierre Poilievre. He did it. It was a cynical move, and smooth-brained people voted for him over it. All right. This is what I'm talking about. So Pierre Poilievre is putting out a lot of videos like this. He's taking advantage of social media in a very positive way. Because ultimately, the number of people that are watching like CBC is going to be far outstripped by the amount of people that are just watching videos like this on X. It probably already is the case, but this is a smart move. I mean, this is basically just a bunch of free advertising. Why not take advantage of it? 3 jobs, no money left, work doesn't pay. Time to fix the money. Here's how. So let's hear what Pierre Poilievre has to say. And you'll notice that he's with his family and not with a man in a thong or a man in a dog fetish mask. So I kind of feel like that matters. Let's watch.
I really like the people out here in East Central Alberta. We're having a lot of fun just out to the little bite to eat Smitty's with Cruz and Anna, and really enjoyed the ranchers, the farmers, the oil workers, everyone. They've been so friendly and kind, such good people. Where else would you find a guy walk up to you in the middle of a parking lot and offer you a big sack of beef jerky? Very generous in spirit.
But was he wearing nothing but a thong or a dog fetish mask? That's what Canada wants to know.
I admire the most, though, is the ability of people to withstand hardship without any complaining. I was at a restaurant, I think it was yesterday noon in Stettler, and there was a wonderful waitress there, and she said she's a full-time teacher, she's a waitress, and she helps her family with both their ranch and their farm. She does all that. I said, geez, you must be tired. She said, no, this is what we do. We work hard, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, at least, and that's what I do. She said, but I'm kind of surprised because it used to be I'd be able to save up $1,000 a month or more doing all that work, and now it just vanishes into thin air. And that's what I see everywhere, people telling me that they're working harder and harder, and their money just evaporates. And frankly, it's not an accident. Our government is printing cash like crazy to fund its out-of-control spending. More money, chasing fewer goods equals higher prices. What I want to do is reverse that equation. Let's grow more food, produce more energy, and build more homes while printing less money. So make more, print less. That way you have the dollars would then go further because you'd have more goods to buy rather than just more dollars to bid them up. And to do that, you're going to need to cut back on the spending in the federal government. We need to cut bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, corporate welfare, handouts to phony, fraudulent refugee claimants, and other wasted money that goes out the door every single day. Once you stop wasting the money, you don't have to print it anymore. You can lower the taxes, the debt, the inflation, and make this a country where hard work pays off, and that's three ways. One, you remove the three ways. One, you remove the red tape so that people can make more. Two, you lower the taxes so that they keep more. And three, you bring down inflation so that what they keep lasts longer and goes further. That's the way you allow that incredible waitress in the Stettler who works 3 jobs actually get ahead and get the incredible quality of life that she's worked so hard for. Anyway, these are all great lessons that you pick up when you're traveling the highways and byways, the farms and ranches, the small businesses, and so much more in East Central Alberta, Battle River, Crowfoot. What a wonderful place it is, and what a privilege it is for me to spend so much time with these amazing people. Hope you're having a great long weekend.
See, everything in that is, concrete, practical, pragmatic things that can be done, right? Grounded in reality. All things that will actually help Canadians, that will benefit the well-being of Canadians, right? It's not, yeah, times are hard, but you could always throw on a dog fetish mask, or, you could steal your sister's thong and then go walk out in public. It's not quite that. It's not this.
There's a fever gripping America. And while it rages, Canadians will remain resolute and true to our values. While America engages in a war on woke, Canadians will continue to value inclusiveness.
Yeah, so it's not, obsessing over abstract lunacy, right? It's not, Poilievre's plan doesn't include moralizing and obsessing over absurd abstractions. So it's not that. I mean, this all should have been very, very clear to enough Canadians during the election to have prevented this current disaster, the disaster of Turbo Trudeau, Mark's Carney. Let's continue on with Pierre here. Let's see the comments actually first. What are you doing about the millions of illegal migrants in Canada? What is your plan? Deport immediately or build more homes? Well, he's made it pretty clear there needs to be negative immigration, and everybody here who's here illegally needs to go home. So that's his plan. So, if you're not paying attention, right, don't comment. You can question whether or not he'll actually do that, and that remains to be seen, right? But there is a plan. It's been well stated over and over again. Let's see. I see there's lots of Chinese bots in here. All right, let's see the next one. From Tokyo Rosie. So I believe, this here he's answering a question from the audience as to his thoughts on Alberta, Saskatchewan separation. So, and this is posted by Tokyo Rosie. She says, I like Pierre Poilievre. He can give an intelligent answer to difficult questions, and you won't find him hugging dudes with their bare asses hanging out. That's just a plus. I think we can guarantee we're never going to see that same photo from Pierre Poilievre.
What would you say to someone like me who has a young family and seeing more hope in the idea of landlocked Western Canada than a never-ending Liberal government? The Liberal government owns the media, they run the universities, they have no shame or integrity. It feels like the game is rigged and that the East will always decide in fate. Why should Alberta and Saskatchewan stay?
That's a fair question. A very fair question. I frankly understand the frustration that people feel. The Liberals in Ottawa have told the West to pay up and shut up. They've attacked Alberta and Saskatchewan's biggest industries of agriculture, oil and gas, to name a few. And they have transferred massive wealth out of this region. So all of those concerns are legitimate. The question is, how do we deal with it? I believe the answer is in building alliances with like-minded Canadians across the country. So, for example, Alberta and Saskatchewan should lock arms with Newfoundland, which wants to repeal C-69 so that it can double its oil production. Newfoundland got off equalization by producing offshore oil. Now they want to do gas. We should lock arms with them to do that. You have the First Nations communities along with the British Columbia coast that want to build at least a half dozen LNG liquefaction plants to take Alberta's gas, liquefy it, put it on a ship, send it off to 2.5 billion customers in Asia, and get $14 for a million metric British thermal units instead of $3. That would bring home tens of billions of dollars of wealth for our people across the oil and gas regions of this country. We should team up with the people in the Greater Toronto area who want to see a massive crackdown on crime by toughening up the criminal justice system because they're seeing the chaos in their streets. We should build alliances with, and you might be surprised to hear me say this, Quebec wants to have a smaller, weaker federal government so that they can have more autonomy over their provincial decisions. We should team up with them and say every province, including Alberta and Saskatchewan, should have more autonomy by having less power concentrated in Ottawa. Now, you might say that sounds great, but when is it ever going to happen? Well, it did happen. I described the nightmare that that happened under the Pierre Elliott Trudeau period. But a few years later, we got a conservative government that brought in free trade with the United States, which was a massive boon for the prairies, by the way. The government of the National Energy Program privatized or got rid of about 25 different federal government agencies and bodies, reduced the size of the federal government in relative terms by roughly half. And in the period following 1984 to 2015, Alberta became pretty much the richest place anywhere in the world. And so it was by building alliances with other regions of the country that we were able to get what we wanted. And that was a great period. Like, look, in the period from the mid-'80s until 2015, when Harper left office, we built the oil sands. Incredible. The oil sands boom happened in that entire time. I think it was really liftoff in the 90s. So that's the incredible past we have. We have an incredible history with Canada, fighting and winning wars, building prosperity, settling the West. And I think we should build on that history by building alliances with other parts of the country that want the same things we do. Thank you.
See, I like this. I like this. And it is true that, because my preference would be obviously for Canada to remain Canada, right? But you need to have sane leadership. The larger your economy is, the more leverage you have with your trading partners, the more power that you have. If you have sane leadership, though, right? If you don't have sane leadership, then it's a problem. I mean, the question is, will Eastern Canada ever grow up? Will it just decide to become New York City or San Francisco? Or has it just decided permanently that it wants to be that? That it wants to be California, freezing cold California forever? That's the question. If that is the case, then obviously the West should just, in my opinion, if that's the case, then the West should, including British Columbia, just form its own country. British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan should just become their own thing. And I think it's even possible that BC could. There'd be major advantages for British Columbia to do that. But we shall see. The question is, will Eastern Canada ever wake up? Will it ever confront reality? If not, well, then I think it really leaves Western Canada no choice. But I like this response from Pierre Poilievre. I think this is a really good one, and it's not something he shied away from. He had a real answer to the question, and a good one. Pierre Poilievre says Carney promised the strongest economy in the G7. He gave us the second highest unemployment in the group. But to be fair, they were off on vacation, right? Everybody was off on vacation. So, although maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe in the greatest crisis in Canada since World War II, as Mark Carney told us, Maybe he should have kept Parliament in. Maybe if it was that big of an emergency, maybe Parliament should have continued sitting, so that the country could be governed, right? Policy could be set. All the big promises and media hype about this guy are colliding with reality. He must be watching Radio Baloney. And it's Canadians who are paying the price. The question is, will Eastern Canada ever wake up? And we don't know. The government is breaking our money, Pierre Poilievre says. I think he's correct. The people are paying the price. It doesn't have to be this way. Well, just wait. Just wait until he's printed up, the tens of billions of dollars more debt for Canada. Just wait. Mark Carney is just getting started. My opinion is that he's just here to loot the country. Right, he is here to extract every penny out of the country, max out the national credit card to fund his green boondoggles and companies he's associated with, Brookfield, and all the friends he's made over his years of high finance. And then he's going to leave Canada holding the bag. I think that's where it's going. Let's hear Pierre Poilievre talk about it.
Here in Tofield, Alberta, and I have to tell you, there are an incredible number of people who are just scraping by. I am amazed at how inflation continues to march along and run over everyone in its path. Yesterday, I was in Camrose. I spoke to a Boston Pizza waitress. Her name is Rhonda, single mom. She says every month it gets worse and worse and worse. The price is rising faster than her wages, and she's struggling. She's just fighting to feed her kids and pay her rent. Down the road, I was talking to a gentleman. He is an oil worker. He actually has to rent a spare room or a couch in a mobile home. That costs $400. That's all he can do. And this is the direct result of government. Make no mistake, there is only one cause of inflation, and it is government. Government creating more cash to fund its irresponsible spending that inflates the cost of everything. The banks and the bureaucrats do way better as they inflate the resources that they have and the value of their assets. And of course, the working people who pay the bills and make the stuff that we need, they are the ones who suffer. This system is broken, and the people are breaking under the pressure of it. We need to end inflationism. Inflationism imposed by Mark Carney, by central bankers like him, by big government, by overspending. It is crushing the working class. The only way to change it is to slash the cost of government, stop the money printing, bring in sound money that preserves its value, low taxes that rewards hard work. And instead of creating more cash, we need to create more what cash buys, grow more food, build more homes, produce more energy so that people have bigger paychecks, that they keep those paychecks after tax, and that the money from that after-tax income preserves its value and rewards the people who spend it wisely. That is what I'm fighting for. It has been the purpose of my political life. If you agree, back me up in the Battle River Crowfoot by-election and join our national conservative team to bring real change that puts you back in charge of your money and your life.
So it's just pragmatic, right? It's not vague promises about green energy and becoming a green energy superpower and carbon capture and national projects that are never going to materialize. It's like, we have an energy sector. Let's build that out. World needs energy. Let's do that, right? Let's trash the corporate, the industrial carbon tax. So, that'll be an incentive for Canadian companies not to flee to the United States. Let's do things that make sense. How about that? Let's get rid of this insane zero emission electric vehicle mandate, which starts coming into effect in 2026, next year. Let's get rid of that lunacy. Right? These are all pragmatic, real things that will actually work. Here's the thing. They're proven. They actually work. They're actually good. So how long until we can get him into the prime minister's residence? I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe in a year. Who knows? Right? Carney is flaming out pretty bad in terms of accomplishing nothing and being a disaster for the country, especially with his major, his central promise that he was going to handle Trump. He knows how to deal with men like Trump. Well, no, he doesn't. He clearly, at this point, I think we can say without any equivocation, Mark Carney does not know how the world works. He is not a good negotiator, and he does not know how to handle men like Donald Trump. So maybe it'll come sooner, but the disconcerting thing is that, at least on social media, the people who voted for him don't seem to have noticed. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Let's see. Have we got anything else from Pierre? No, we can move on. Let's get back to the chat for a minute. There we go. What are you guys talking about? What are we, an hour and 12 in? All right. Nevada said, Big Balls just got attacked by a bunch of thugs in D.C. Trump is real pissed. Well, we do have that coming up, but I don't have the Trump reaction, so we should remind me to. We'll look up Trump's reaction to that when we get to that point of the show. Let's see. Nevada says, Fed Chair Powell standing next to Trump in the Fed building looked like the little old man on Benny Hill that Benny would always slap on the back of the head. Oh, that's funny. Trudeau Survivor says, Carney's face looks like a stroke victim. Yikes. That's mean. That's just mean. Let's take a look. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Actually does look like that. Very observant. Very observant. Nice. Chef Rico says, I think Danielle Smith would make a better PM. There's a little bit of something going on with her choice for like the head policeman in Alberta or something. The chief law official in Alberta. So I do like Danielle Smith. I think she's been very impressive. I think she'd make an excellent PM, to be honest. Let's see. Let's see. Chef Rico says, if he can crash Canada, then his banker bros can buy up all the real estate for pennies on the dollar. I don't think he has good intentions. I think he has malign intentions, Mark Carney. I think he's going to extract every bit of money from the country, put us massively in debt, max out the national credit card, leave us holding the bag. I think that's what's going to happen with Mark Carney. Let's see. Let's see. Turtle says, I see trains running coal to China daily. We have 3 refineries in Washington, and our gas is up the butt. Let's see. Let's see. Nevada says, BC got too many Chinese. Too many Chinese. We got too many everybody. Like, it's just too many people. Like, the infrastructure can't handle it. Turtle says, yes, we have a shit ton in university here. I hope they are all learning wokeism. Well, if they're in university at like Washington State or like UBC in British Columbia, they're learning wokeism, and that's about all they're learning. Let's see. Turtle says I should put stock in machetes. Machetes. Well, they're not selling them in Australia anymore. See, they never had a problem with machetes in Australia. You could buy and sell machetes, no problem. You could own a machete, no problem. Then something changed. And then all of a sudden, you can't have machetes anymore. And they got those drop boxes the people that are attacking everybody with machetes to voluntarily donate their machete to the state. It's very weird. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, I can't condone this. If I was in Australia, I'd be leaving dildos in the machete drop boxes. I can't condone that. That's awful. That's just awful. Let's see. Yeah, there's not, yeah. So guns are, legal gun owners are being scapegoated in Canada, have been by the Trudeau government for years now, Jeff Rico. It's just so, it's typical. Let's see. Turtle says 300 grizzlies dropped here in Washington, and our hunting license is 38% higher. Like, so get all those grizzlies. I hate them. Get them all. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. What do we got next? What do we have next? So here's the Puppy Walk 2025. Oh, this is in Belgium. Let's see. Mark Carney's new Canadian military being unveiled. White Claypool. Well, this is Belgium, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is what he had in mind. Remember when public shaming was a thing? Remember that? Remember that? Remember those good old days? Before we were all completely insane. Yeah, I'm sure this is what Mark Carney wants the military to look like. Maybe he was recruiting this guy or this guy. Why don't you join the military? There's going to be even more tampons you can stick up your ass. We're investing in green tampons for the military. Join now. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, so here we go. So from Billboard, Chris. So are the Pride people finally figuring out that the pro-Hamas people, not really their friends? Not really their friends. Maybe they don't have the same interests after all. Maybe they don't have the same interests as the people who would be throwing you off a rooftop, perhaps. I don't know. I know that Hamas, not big fans of the rainbow, not big fans. Let's see. So Pride attendees aren't happy that pro-Hamas protesters are blocking them. Well, maybe they were never your friends in the first place.
March with us. We didn't stop you from marching at our parade, but you're blocking us from our parade. We never stopped you from participating, but you're blocking us now. Shame on all of you. You say the word that solidarity. That is not solidarity. You're just showing your bullies. Bullies.
So somebody there said, you say the word solidarity, but then you don't actually do it. So I think that was one of the Hamas snakes, right? It's because they think these people are stupid, right? And they've proven themselves to actually be pretty stupid, right? Just throw out that buzzword, solidarity, right? Oh, well, then I guess we just don't get to do our fetish parade today. Are they? I mean, it looks like these people have started to figure it out, but have they really learned anything? Have they really? Probably not. Probably not. They probably are never going to figure out who their actual enemy is. Not the people who just go, well, I don't know if we really need to have like an annual fetish parade, but, live your life. It's fine. Maybe that's not their enemy. Will they ever figure out who actually is a threat to them? I'm not sure. Maybe they're starting to figure it out a little bit. A little bit. Hopefully it won't be too late. All right. Yeah, here we go. No pride in genocide. What does that even mean? What does that mean? So, I guess it means the entire world has to stop for them, I guess. Well, that's what you guys wanted. It's what you wanted. All right, let's move on. What's going on here? This was a really good point. Sean Sargent, Prairie veteran. How is Canada First different from Make America Great Again? Other than who says it? Isn't that a great question? And by the way, tariffs, all these evil tariffs, Canada has had tariffs on other countries forever, right? China retaliated against Canada because we had 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs. Does anybody feeling like, or any of these people that voted for Carney starting to just kind of wake up and go, maybe we got tricked. Maybe we were told a fairy tale. Maybe it wasn't true. Maybe we're just really easily manipulated into making terrible decisions. Will they figure it out? I don't know. Again, I'm not black-pilled on Canada, but I'm also not black-pilled, I guess. Like, is it possible that Eastern Canada is just lost? That there is no other option other than just Western Canada goes its own way? That is a possibility. That is a possibility. I mean, certainly if the Liberals are elected, if the Eastern Canada elects the Liberals again in the next election, whenever that may be, whether it's in a year or 4 years or 3.5 years, whatever, if that happens again, then I think at that point, Western Canada has to say, yeah, it's really time to go. It's just two different countries at that point, right? But we'll have to see. It's a great point here. How is that different from Make America Great Again? I wonder if there's any hypocrisy going on. And then we move on to the next tab. So new data reveals that 19% of private sector jobs are now filled by temporary foreign workers. Temporary foreign workers. This is from Juno News. So, you know what's interesting, right? The country being flooded with temporary foreign workers. It's now almost 1 in 5 private sector jobs is temporary foreign workers. And of course, the reason for that is because it's cheap labor for business in Canada, and they get like tax credits and there's like free training. Sometimes it's just direct subsidization by the taxpayer to pay these people, right? But while they're flooding the country, hold on one second. I want to look something up that I'm just thinking of now. Move 1 second, guys. Hold on, I should be able to find something. Here we go. So we have this. After a record-breaking 54,000, that's 54,000 job applications for the CNE, hundreds lined up today at the CNA job hiring fair. Mass immigration floods the job market, and Canadians of all backgrounds pay the price. Look at this.
Right? Show how you're going to bring fun. Able to provide that opportunity for 6,000 people is massive for the economy here, not just in Toronto, but in Ontario. And in fact, if you look, people think about the CNE and how much fun it is.
Look at this. Why are we bringing in more foreign workers? Why exactly? Do we have anything else here? What's this? This is from Kirk Lubomov. This is what youth in Canada face to try and get a basic entry-level job. Look at the size of this lineup for a couple of internship spots. Most of this line aren't even Canadians. Well, look at this. Do you know what sane leadership would do? Would say, no more temporary foreign workers. This is crazy. Look at this lineup for a couple of spots, internship spots. Look at this. This is what Canadians have to compete with? An endless line of people? This is insanity. This is complete and utter and total insanity. Now let's watch this.
And I want to talk to you about this story that came out from Juno News last week. Temporary foreign workers now account for 19% of the private sector economy. So 1 in 5 workers in the private sector is now not even a permanent resident, not even on track to become a citizen, just someone who's here temporarily to, I don't know, provide cheap labor for large corporations or other groups that want that kind of worker in. And I mean, it's just totally wild that is the priority. That is the way that we are organizing our economy. What did you make of this story?
Yeah, it's we've never seen anything like it. And on Not Sorry for Juno, I've got a big guest this week. I'm excited to share that episode, and we're going to really be going into that. But for example, like my wife and I, we were on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia this weekend. We live in Vancouver, and we were up in Gibsons and went further up the coast. And out there, because it's hard to get to, there's not some big highway, there's a barrier to entry to things like the TFW program and, let's be real, a litany of fake schools. They just don't exist out there. And so you actually saw local kids, local 20-somethings, local 30-somethings working in the jobs that they've always been able to work in before. And you come back to Vancouver, you go to Toronto, you go to Calgary, Edmonton, that doesn't exist anymore. And then we turn around, we see that 19% stat we see in cities like...
You're not even like on Vancouver Island, like you go down the highway, stop at a gas station, it's all temporary foreign workers all along. Even there, even in he's saying the Sunshine Coast is not like that yet. I'm surprised. Because even in rural communities, a lot of rural communities, you go there and it's foreigners working there. It's foreigners just working in the stores. And they're also buying up a lot of the businesses as well because they get, zero interest loans from the government. The government will subsidize them. All these incentives that aren't available to Canadians who've lived in Canada all their life.
Like Toronto, youth unemployment right now is estimated to be around 20%. It's probably higher. And we're failing to launch these kids. They're at risk of not getting that foot in the door, not getting these sort of seminal experiences that they need to develop confidence, to be part of a team, to break out of the bubble, to especially with the rise of technology and the fight for every second of their attention span. It's like they need to be out there and they need to be working. And the worry is they're not. And unless we hold these sort of TFWP abusers to account and really force the government to stick to its apparent claims that it wants to revise targets and do a bit of a better job, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of kids just off the bat who are going to just be spinning their wheels and miss these key years. And then we're going to turn around and wonder why we have even more problems. And then the only solution to that for these companies, and if it's a liberal government, will be well, then let's bring in even more temporary foreign workers. It's a vicious cycle.
Yes, and surprise, surprise, the technocrat globalist, Mark Carney, the technocrat globalist central banker, Mark Carney, is not dealing with this in any kind of meaningful way. And I feel quite sure that next year we're going to find out there are actually more that came in under him than did under Trudeau. A fourth liberal term, folks. Just a bad idea. A bad idea. What the hell is going on here? Good Lord, folks. You're never going to believe this. Spambot? That's triple best person ever for Spambot tonight. That's amazing. That means that whoever your favorite person in history was, whoever you think the best person was, human garbage, just dog shit compared to Spambot. That's 3 times now. In fact, garbage times 3. I'm sorry, that's just the way that it works. Spambot, another gifted subscription, this time to JDL. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful gesture. It's probably the most beautiful thing that you can see in nature. Much, much better than a sunset. Sunset, garbage compared to this. Just dog shit compared to it. Spambot, you're a beauty. And all for less than the price of a Rolex watch. This is a beautiful thing. All right. Thanks again, Sambot. And it really is the best thing anybody can do for my channel is gifting those memberships. It's awesome. Thank you very much. JJ Novata says it's so wrong to give them better loans than the Canadians. Yep. And all that prefab housing, by the way, all those shipping container homes they're building, all that high density housing that they're going to be building, that they're going to be spending just billions and billions of dollars on. That is not going to be, and by the way, not much of it will get made, by the way. Not much will actually get made. There won't actually be many of them made, but those are not going to Canadians either. Those are all going to all of the millions of people that Mark Carney is going to be bringing in to satisfy his buddy at the Century Initiative to get us up to that 100 million people mark. Because that's the way that central bankers think. You are nothing more than a number on a spreadsheet. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, I vaguely recall that the Canadian government subsidizes the wages of foreign workers by 30%. Not all of them. There is some of that, but it's like tax credits. It's free training. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of benefits for them. That's why they do it, right? That's why they do it. That's why they keep saying, oh, there's a worker shortage. No, there's not. There's a cheap worker shortage. Let's see. What do you guys talk about? Let's get back to the chat for a second. Let's find another ref video. Let's see. There's some more of that football. Let's see something else. What's this one? Oh, I like this one. This is a good one. I like MMA. The lingerie fighting league. I love it. I love it. What an idea. It's a genius idea. I have to say, a genius idea. Love it. What else we got going on? Trudeau Survivor asks, how long until an Australian kindergartner is sent to detention for shaping a Pop-Tart in the shape of a machete? That's prison. That's hard time. Maybe they sent him out to the COVID camp. Let's see. JDL makes a great point here. Hit the like button. Everybody hit that like button. Hit that like button. Get your free good karma. Hit the like button. Get the free good karma. You don't have to worry about anything bad happening tonight if you do that. Just hit that free good karma button. Come on, people. You know what to do. Also, subscribe to the channel, for God's sakes. Do I have to keep saying this? Let's see. All right. Nevada ate too much and feels like it's going to burst. So don't do that. Let's see. I keep seeing replacement theory in the chat here, and I can't imagine why anybody would think that while they're actively replacing everybody. Let's see. Somebody said, weird, the gift sub is taking its sweet-ass time to grant. I noticed that as well, actually, because I saw it, but I had to finish off the segment. But then it did happen, and it was beautiful when it did. Let's see. Way to go, spam bot. So much karma. It's an enormous amount of good karma that you get from doing that, from gifting subs as well. It's a wonderful thing. Let's see. Chef Rico says, boo, boo, you are the queen of garbage. He's talking about Mother Teresa. And he's right. I bet you do like women's MMA, Chef Rico says. Like not the normal kind. I only like this kind. Nevada says they should oil them down first. Why don't they do that? That's pretty. That's a big oversight, in my opinion. All right. You know what? I think I got to take a break for a couple of minutes, guys. I think you guys know why. I'm drinking some coffee. I'll be right back. I know this is like an MMA thing, but I think really what this is about is that they're fighting over a man, I think. And his name is Jed. I think that's what's happening. Anyway, so I'm assuming everybody took the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and also like the stream, because that'd be a really, I don't know, kind, decent thing. I'm appealing to your empathy. Aren't you empathetic? Aren't you compassionate? Prove it. Also get good karma. Let's see. Go through the quick chat and then we'll get started again. Trinastar says Mother Teresa didn't believe in using condoms, right? I think she practiced the rhythm method. Let's see. Ooh, that's bad. Going to hell for that one. Let's see. Trino Survivor says she was pro raw dogging it. Yeah. Jeff Rico says, what have I started? It's a degenerate chat. That's the thing. That's the thing about my chat. It's degenerate. It's a degenerate chat. Let's see. JDL says, anyone watch Shadow Davis? I think I have in the past. I'm trying to recall exactly. It's a Canadian guy, right? Jeff Rigo says, so it's time to bring back female mud jello wrestling and wet t-shirt nights. You know, it's a great point. And I'm going to say that I don't see what the need is for the fetish parades now. Like, I understand, like, I'm going to say, I'm going to make a bargain with Canada here, right? Because, like, I understand, like, the, you know, back, you know, when they're protesting in, like, they do the gay rights marches in, like, the 70s, and it was just a bunch of guys just, like, dressed up in, like, dress shirts and stuff, right? Two guys in suits and stuff. But, you know, they'd be like, they didn't want cops to, like, bust into their bar and arrest them all and stuff. Like, I get all of that. I don't really get how it just developed into this fetish parade. But I'm willing to say this, right? So I don't get a day. I like boobs, and I don't get a day or a parade. So I say, okay, you can have the fetish parade, but we get to have a wet t-shirt day. Everybody like it. And you know what? The lesbians can come to that as well. They'll complain about it, but they'll still go. They'll still go. They'll still have like a couple of like locally brewed beers and the bag of trail mix that they took with them. They'll still go, right? Because they still like it. So let's have a wet t-shirt day across the country. Wet t-shirt pride. And then everybody's happy, right? Because right now it kind of feels like we're getting gypped, right? Let's see. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Wet t-shirt, National Wet T-Shirt Pride Day. I'm in. I am sold. So let's see. So I thought I'd start up a new bookmark, just taking a look at how Islam is going across the United States. Let's see. Meet Nora Shalash, Director of Government Affairs for CARE, Kentucky. What is that? Center for American Islamic Relations, I think, something like that. She really let the mask slip. This is a harmless civil rights organization. When she yells, she really let the mask slip that this is a harmless civil rights organization when she yells that she demands jihad, and she wants ISIS to kill all of them. Well, let's see.
Are a hateful bigot. Huh? Who is this woman? What is she doing? I don't even know. Thank you. This is insane.
I'm not leaving.
This is what Jews in New York City have to deal with in a place of business. It's my office, Nora. Okay?
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
She with you? No. You know, I asked him if he did. I'm just hoping that this person has a mental...
I demand jihad. I demand jihad. I want ISIS to kill all of you.
Okay.
All right, somebody call the cops.
I'm conspiring Hamas, Palestinian jihad.
Well, well, she says what she thinks. right? So I guess you got that. I'd be worried about what was in that suitcase right about there, right? Because she seems fairly unhinged and genocidal. Also just a tad genocidal, I would say. I don't know what started this off. Sounds like she went to go harass a Jewish guy at his office for some reason to let him know that she wanted him to be killed and ISIS and stuff. So anyway, that's not going well. What's going on here? Alexander Duncan posted this. Former FBI agent John Guandolo. 100% of the enemies we are fighting say they are Muslims waging war against non-Muslims in the cause of Allah to impose Sharia and establish an Islamic caliphate. They keep saying it, and the left just doesn't seem to ever listen. Like the feminists just don't want to listen. The Queers for Palestine don't want to listen. It's weird. They keep saying what they want to do. It's so strange. Like, I guess the left has this thing where they just reinterpret everything, right? So they say, well, they don't really mean that. You know, what they really mean is that they want, free buses, free buses in cities and like universal health care. But they did mention the whole ISIS thing, and they want to do the don't genocide. No. What they mean by that is that they want higher corporate taxes. Let's take a look.
According to all Islamic doctrine, is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate, and under that, Sharia or Islamic law is the law of the land. That's it. Islam is no more complicated than that. Islam breaks the entire world into two parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war, where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam. And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims. So let's just put that on the line. And so we're here talking national security issues. We have people here that are running for the office of President of the United States, and we have to begin there. And what I would put forth is that since, and actually prior to, but since 9/11, our entire national security apparatus has been unprofessional in its approach to this war, from the 4-star generals to the office of the president, to the national security staff, to the leaders of DHS when it was created, the FBI, the CIA, and other agencies. Because we have said this has nothing to do with Islam, despite the fact that our warfighting doctrine says when you analyze an enemy, you start with who he says he is and why he's fighting. And 100% of this enemy that we're facing, from the jihadi in Chattanooga to the 9/11 hijackers and everybody before and in between, have all said we're Muslims waging jihad in the cause of Allah in order to impose Islamic law and establish caliphate, period. So that's what it is. And if we look in Islamic law, authoritative Islamic law, the kind you get at mosque bookstores, not at Barnes & Noble, you will see that 100% of them say that jihad is warfare against non-Muslims. And it's total warfare. It's not just guns and bombs. It's psychological warfare. It is political warfare. It's subversion. It is the whole 9 yards. It's total warfare, something that our DOD has not been practicing. I would say you'd have to go back towards Reagan administration and maybe even beyond that. Complete and total war against non-Muslims.
So I guess you always got to throw in that. Guess you always got to throw in that qualifier. Not all, but what does not all mean exactly? Right? What does that mean? If you've got an ideology, just any ideology, right? And there's a million, and 1% is willing to kill or die for it, you've got a problem. And then if you've got 30% that is fully approving of it and is willing to like donate that sort of thing or elect people that will promote it, that's a problem. You got another 20% on top that are kind of, not donating or whatever, but they're just kind of fine to go along with whatever. You know, you've got to got these concentric circles building out. You've got a problem. Like it is something you need to confront. Former FBI agent John Guandolo. 100% of the enemies we are fighting say they are Muslims waging war against non-Muslims in the cause of Allah to impose Sharia and establish an Islamic caliphate. What does not all mean, though? Not all, but what does that actually mean? I've shown you the clips in Canada of the imams across the country talking about how they want to impose Sharia law, right? Praising child martyrdom, like using soldiers as using children as soldiers for martyrdom, right? Like this is all stuff that's normal across Canada. There's imams saying this stuff openly. I mean, I know that Mark Carney tells us that, you know, Canada's really concerned, Canada's most concerned about being inclusive, but of everything, like of every single thing. Where is it? Oh, where is it? Hold on. I think it's in here somewhere. Look at that. There he is. Who did that? The new face of woke in Canada from the Pleb Reporter. His name is Mark Carney. I made a video saying that Mark Carney is full woke, and I was right. It turns out I was right. So like Europe particularly is coming up against the kind of limits of what inclusion really means. And I fully expect actually the next 20 years, there'll be a civil war in Europe. You know, because why wouldn't you? Like, I don't know, they're saying what they want to do. They've got extremist imams all over the place saying exactly what they want to do. Why wouldn't they? They've done it everywhere else. So, where is it? Come on. I don't know. I can't find it. Whatever. Let's just move on. What are you guys saying? Actually, hold on a second. Let's go back here. There we go. Did I have something else? No, nothing else. All right. Let's go here. Let's take a look at the chat. You guys are going to love this next one. This next one's a real beauty, let me tell you. All right, so Rosie's talking about dinner. Don't let me interrupt. Let's see. Okay, you guys are just talking about dinner. All right, I can just get on with the show then. Let's see. Here we go. I hope you're not still eating dinner. Colin Wright posted this. So he likes to post insane far leftist, woke, radical leftist articles and papers by, from modern academia, from what passes for modern academia. He says, behold this stunning piece of, well, I'm not sure what the hell this is, but it's published by Duke University. Okay, this is apparently a feminist stance. So, October 1st, 2014. So this is kind of an old one, but they've been at this for a long time. From Jennifer C. Nash, Black Anality. Black Anality. So it didn't catch on, and I think that's a good thing. But what's the point of this? Let's see. Black Anality argues that black and anal are rendered ideologically, discursively, and representationally synonymous, and that black female flesh becomes the material space on which this convergence occurs. One thing I notice about this, the far left writing, the gibberish, is that they like to dehumanize people as much as possible. So they talk about bodies. They don't talk about people. They talk about bodies, or in this case, flesh. I think it's because they see everybody as a blank slate. Everything's a social construction, unless that's inconvenient, and then it's just innate. But generally speaking, they just tend to present themselves and other people as just simply bodies, as vessels, really. And they'll say bodies, or in this case, female flesh. It's a really weird little insight into their mind. But again, black anality, that sounds like a Marvel superhero movie from like about 6 years ago. Black anality argues that black and anal are rendered ideologically, discursively, and representationally synonymous. But that's just not true. Right? Nobody's ever done that. This is totally made up. The material space on which this convergence occurs. So black female flesh becomes the physical thing that the words black and anal mean the same thing. This doesn't make any sense. Drawing on an archive of online widely accessible black pornographies. So this is just a porn addict. I developed the term black anality to describe how black pleasures are represented as peculiarly and particularly oriented towards the anus people, and thus as a peculiarly and particularly attached to anal ideologies. Has anybody ever seen any of these anal ideologies of which she speaks? Or is that just completely made up? I feel like it's completely made up. In doing so, I depart from black feminist scholarship. You know, I think everybody should just depart from it if this is what's happening, which has long examined the buttocks as an imagined locus of racial sexual difference, which has developed a set of analytics. I guess we have to call it analytics because if this is the black anality. This is crazy. Black anality offers a new set of analytics or is it analytics for black feminist work on sexuality, spatiality, waste, toxicity, and filth. Speaking of filth, I think that's what this paper is. In turning attention to this understudied and over-determining space. So in turning attention to this understudied space, what you mean black anality? That understudied space? Is this a is this a joke? You can't tell the difference between satire, parody anymore in real life. The black anus, black anality, considers the racial meanings produced in pornographic texts that insistently return to the black female anus as a critical site of pleasure, peril, and curiosity. Curiosity. And peril. Is there some peril involved? So what is this? Somebody should write a paper on the wasted potential that is invested in this gibberish. I mean, what good can this possibly be? What good can this possibly bring to the world? Like, what does this add to a society, to a civilization? What of value is in this? Like, how does this help society in any way? Right? Like, this is just, it's just all made up. It's beyond, it's just a very strange, like, flight of fantasy, I guess. Of course, the language is typical word salad. Nothing's supposed to actually mean anything. Just these kind of incoherent ideas. These incoherent ideas are just turned into a word salad to hide the fact that it doesn't mean anything, right? It's to give it, again, a false profundity. Like, just the fact that this exists on the internet is a waste, right? Something else could exist in its place. just the whatever small amount of memory on whatever server that this exists on is too much of a cost for the black anality paper. So anyway, if you thought that the world couldn't get any worse, what's happening here? Libs of TikTok posted this. So I'm going to guess this is a real dingbat we have here. Let's see. Teacher says the child sacrifices of the Incan Empire. Teacher says the child sacrifices of the Incan Empire were voluntary and kind, and claims that viewing them as evil means you had a white education. So dingbat confirmed. This person teaches your children. Well, it's all just your perspective, right? Murdering children is all just your perspective.
I will die on this hill. I'm specifically talking about the Inga here. We're not talking about the Mexica.
First words, I will die on this hill. So she is going to die on the hill of defending child sacrifice. Education system at work.
That's a whole separate type of sacrifice. If we're just looking at Tawantinsuyu, the Quechua people, the Incan Empire, they practiced sacrifices like most other civilizations throughout history did in times of crisis. So famine, natural disasters. But the unique thing about the Quechua is that when you're looking at like the Incan civilization, you essentially have the elites and then you have everyone else. Sacrifices were volunteers from the elite class because they believed that the
So she's saying that it's okay because the children were volunteering. I wonder how many children volunteered. Interesting take.
elites were closer to the gods and could therefore appease them better. Also, in terms of
but I think this is an important point. They weren't actually doing that. They were just murdering children for nothing. So I think that's an important point.
Sacrifice, they were kind about it. Hear me out. Because unlike the Mexica, when you're like ripping out a still beating heart out of someone's chest, the Inca would intentionally use coca leaves and would use chicha and would drug up the sacrifice and then
Do you mean the child? The child, you mean?
leave them on a mountain, a cold, chilly mountain, to be exposed to the elements. Which, if you're good, a volunteer sacrifice where you're heavily drugged before you die. Also, I mean, I can equate.
Yeah, I mean, they drug them and leave them on a cold mountain. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, that's basically perfect parenting right there.
Human sacrifice throughout history to so many things. And I think the fact that a lot of people are commenting, oh, but the sacrifice is again indicative of the fact that you have received a quite white education because you are knowing them for the bad things that they have done and not all of the wonders that they accomplished. So
how about everybody who did child sacrifices anywhere in the world? That was all barbaric, and we should be appalled by the things that people did in the past. How about that? I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, everybody also did slavery all over the world. Slavery existed, right? We look back at it now and we say, that's barbaric. You know, I think we can also look back at child sacrifice and say, that's barbaric. Like, maybe we don't really need to make excuses. Just say, you know, that is barbaric. I'm so glad we don't do horrific, abominable things anymore. Well, at least conservatives don't. I mean, people like her sacrifice their children to gender gods now. So I guess maybe that's why she's defending the Incas so much. She just sacrificed her kid to the gender gods yesterday. Teacher. I would prefer it if it was an ex-teacher, I would say. Like, they're so stuck on this moral relativism, and like, nobody is saying that it was only bad when the Incas did it. But like, I think we can all agree it's just bad anywhere, right? Like cutting out a human heart, you know, still beating human heart from a person to try and, you know, make the rain show up is just bad regardless of who does it. Like, it's not just the Aztecs. We're not just picking on the Aztecs. Anybody doing that? No, don't do that. It doesn't work anyway. That's not how you change the weather. Everybody knows you change the weather by taxing people, obviously. Oh, good Lord. How is she a teacher when I know more about this and I'm stoned? The Inca sacrificed children from noble families or conquered provinces, usually aged 5 to 15. They weren't volunteers, though chosen children and their families viewed it as an honor, and the population was conditioned to see it as a duty. They had no choice to refuse. If selected, it happened. They had no agency to refuse. Yeah, I just feel like we can say, that's barbaric. Terrible, terrible thing to do. Okay. Yes, I know it was a different time, right? But still, I mean, it's pretty bad, right? Still pretty bad. We definitely shouldn't be doing that now. I don't care if your gender gods told you to. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we already dealt with that crazy dingbat yesterday. What's going on here? All right. We'll have to take a bit of a peek at this. Because I did put them on the thumbnail, so we got to cover it. I looked at it and I thought, oh, do I really want to read through all of this? But not, we got to do it. Rosie says, not a big fan of, hold on. Let's go back to the chat for a minute. Not a big fan of Wet T-shirt Day, but way better than the month-long pseudo-compassionate virtue signaling of Pink and Save the Tatas that has done nothing to increase life expectancy post-diagnosis. Yes, okay, yes. I don't know. I just want Wet T-shirt Day. I don't really care how I justify it. I just want that. Let's see. Trino Survivor says, from the creators of Sex and the City, they now bring you the dramatic series of Gays in Gaza. Gays in Gaza. But not for long. Let's see. It's only one episode. And the episode's only 3 minutes long. All right. I'm going to skip down a little bit. Nevada says, cold-blooded evil, stinking commie witch. Doesn't mince words. What are we doing now? Are we doing an ad? Are we doing an ad? I think we are. I think we're doing an ad right now. Let's do this. All right. All right, outdoor crew, or anyone who just wants to be ready for anything, check out the Red Pro Series 72-hour emergency kit from Candace Sports. That's the Red Pro Series 72-hour. That's a lot of hours. Emergency kit from Candace Sports at CADDIS. This is a serious 72-hour survival pack built into a rugged tactical backpack and loaded with everything one person needs to survive the communist revolution. 2,400 calories of food bars. That's a lot. 5 water pouches. You're going to need that water. Thermal emergency blanket. Going to keep you warm. 36-piece first aid kit. You might have a few, nicks and scrapes after fighting off all those dirty, filthy commies. Emergency stove and canteen cup. That's good. A nice cup of tea at the end of the day. All of it has a 5-year shelf life, so you're covered for hurricanes, wildfires, communist revolutions, blackouts, whatever life throws at you. Whether you're off-grid or just want peace of mind at home, I love peace of mind at home, but not a piece of my mind. This kit's a must-have. Compact, reliable, and made for real emergencies. Like a Bolshevik takeover of your government. Use code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order today. You want to use that code RUMBLE at checkout, you're going to get 10% off. You need that. Why not take it? You're going to get the kit. Get that 10%. What are you, crazy? That's CaddisSports.com. CADDIS Sports.com. CaddisSports.com. Remember that name. Gear up, stay safe, and be ready when it counts. Oh, yeah. I am so good. I am so good. All right. I know what the heck's going on. The chat is... Oh, you know what? We have the glitch coming up soon. All right. Trino Survivor says 72 hours of commie free peace and quiet. I'm sold. Nice. See, it works. I'm the best ad man. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Shafrico says, I wonder if she has kids. My guess is no. The lady who likes the the doing the apologetics for child sacrifice, probably not. But if she does have one, she's probably transed it by now. Let's see. Rosie says it was not just random. It was to appease the god of weather of peace or whatever was lacking, asking for blessing. Yeah, I'm glad we don't do that anymore. It was, it was a religion, it was a religion. You just wonder, like, at some point, I mean, just how different were those people? Like the people being sacrificed by the, like, Aztecs, for instance, because the Aztecs, it was an empire. They subjugated all the people around. That's why they so eagerly joined the Spaniards, Cortez, when they arrived there in Mexico to fight against the Aztecs. I mean, I'm sure they didn't enjoy being abducted and then sacrificed while they were still alive, having their still beating heart cut out. Like, there must have been a bunch of people who knew that what they were doing was super evil, right? Like, I just don't believe it that nobody had any idea. I'm just not buying it. There must have been a bunch of people saying, are you sure this works? Because, we did this last week and it didn't rain. So I don't know. It seems kind of mean. Let's see. Chef Rico makes a great point. This bitch is fucking crazy. Yep. JDL says modern education would work. You're right. You're just right. She's an elitist. JDL says, yep. All right. Trudeau Survivor asked, did I earn a women's studies degree after learning about black anality? Black anality. Yes. They can go online and print it. Let's see. Nevada gave me a 9.6 out of 19. 9.6 out of 19 for the ad read? Oh, no, 9.6 out of 10. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Rosie says, Caddis Sports ad, great new ad reads, always fresh, not enough commie hate. Excellent presentation, 9.75 out of 10. I thought there was a lot of commie hate in there. I really tried there. I made a real concerted effort to get, some extra commie hate into that. I guess I got to try harder. I tell you what, the audience is always right. I will try harder next time. All right. Trudeau Survivor says, Aztecs are the end point for liberals. Yeah, I think if they had their way, there'd be like human sacrifices before like basketball games and like baseball games and stuff. I think that's where they're heading. They're already sacrificing their children to the abortion gods and the gender gods. Rosie says, I hit the like button and my son washed my car. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for your testimonial, Rosie. Nevada says someone should feed her to the gods. Agreed. All right. Crazy lady. All right, we've already been there. What's going on here? So, from Michael Schellenberger. So this is to do with, the ongoing saga of the Russian collusion hoax investigation, where I really think that something is going to come of this, that Trump is very serious about going after the people who literally tried to destroy him, tried to throw him in prison, bankrupt him, steal all of his money. There was that what seems like a very, very unlikely, almost successful assassination attempt against him, where apparently like the Secret Service just forgot how to protect, an important political figure for some reason. I think he has good reason to be very angry at these people who tried to destroy him. Literally tried to destroy him. I think he's very serious about going after the people responsible for lying to the American people and for creating basically a hoax against him, an attempted coup, in fact. I think this has got legs and is going somewhere. The media say Obama's CAI. This is from Michael Schellenberger. The media say that Obama's CEI director, John Brennan, didn't manipulate intelligence to frame Trump. Why would they say that? But now a top CIA analyst who co-authored the January 2017 report, the Intelligence Community Assessment on Russian Interference, reveals for the first time that a pathological, his word, pathological Brennan put analysts under duress to cook the intel. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. There he is, and he just looks evil, doesn't he? He just looks evil. Let's take a quick look here. Over the last month, the mainstream news media have dismissed the growing body of evidence that President Barack Obama's CIA Director John Brennan, his Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, and his FBI Director James Comey worked together to manipulate intelligence starting in 2016 in order to frame President Donald J. Trump as a puppet of the Russian government. And we know that December 9th, 2016, they met with then President Obama, and President Obama instructed them to get Trump. So their own the intelligence community's assessment on December 8th was that there was nothing to it. On December 9th, they meet up, and all of a sudden, it's a priority. And all of a sudden, the whole thing changes. But now, a senior CIA analyst and member of the small team that drafted the January 6, 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, ICA, which claimed that Russian President Vladimir Putin had a clear preference for Trump and aspired to help him win, says in an exclusive interview with Public that former CIA Director Brennan put the writing team, quote, under duress to include the fraudulent Steele dossier, of course, paid for, commissioned by Hillary Clinton. Working through intermediaries, the Hillary Clinton campaign hired a former British spy, Christopher Steele, to create the dossier. It contained the false allegation that the Russians controlled Trump through a sex blackmail operation. Yes, the hotel room supposed P-tapes that definitely existed, even though they obviously did not. Quote, CIA analysts strongly and in writing opposed including it, the Steele dossier, at all, the ICA co-author told Public. They were supported by senior Russia and analytic experts up the chain of command, but the team was overruled. I think there's plenty of evidence now against Brennan. I think that he's cooked. I think they're going to go after him hard, and he is going to be punished. I think justice is going to be served. An interesting little tidbit about John Brennan. Where is it? Hold on. Why is that happening now? Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Interesting tidbit about John Brennan, which you might not be that surprised by. In 1980, a graduate student at the University of Texas at Austin saw an ad for the Central Intelligence Agency on a bus. John Brennan decided to apply, thinking that such a job would satisfy his wanderlust. This month, the wanderlust of John Brennan came to an end as the former CIA director stands accused of false testimony regarding the Russian collusion investigation. False testimony. Ironically, Brennan was first selected for his honesty, at least in part. During his entry polygraph, Brennan admitted that he had voted for the Communist Party candidate for president in 1976. He was impressed that the agency took him anyway. I'm not. He voted for the Communist Party in 1976, an old-time commie. I kind of feel like maybe those communist sympathies or communist ideals never really went away. Because he sure acts like one, doesn't he? Huh, isn't that interesting? So I think that Brennan is cooked. I think he's in big trouble. I think he's going to see the inside of a cell like Steve Bannon did, or Flynn did, right? Or Manafort did. I think that they went too far. They pushed it too far. I think that in trying to actually destroy Trump, they've doomed themselves. That's my thought. Him, whether or not Hillary Clinton, Obama, anything ever happens to them, Bill Clinton, we'll have to see. I think you have to say that's way less likely, but maybe. I think Trump's pretty serious about all of this. All right. Back to the chat for a second. Well, Nevada raises an excellent point here, a very salient point. He says, Brennan's a stinking commie. I think that he is. I think he's a stinking commie. Let's see. Nevada says, Flynn wrote a great article today. I missed it. Didn't I say Flynn? Give Brennan the General Floyd treatment. Yeah, Flynn. General Floyd, who's that? Let's see. Let's see. All right. What are we, 2 hours and 20 minutes in? All right, let's keep moving here. Let's keep this train rolling. Let's see. I only got one meme. At the tone, please record your message. That's what you get on a voicemail from Mark Carney. Beep. Do you sell fetish dog masks? How about men's thongs? I'm going to Davos next week. I need it immediately. I still love this. We looked at this last time. I could see this a million times. Show us where the fringe minority hurt you, Justin. Right there in my mangina. I should print this up and then tape this to my ceiling, and so that when I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I see, because it would get me off to a good start for the day. I just love it. I think it's brilliant. Right there in my mangina. I will never get sick of that. Best meme ever. Favorite meme of all time. Bar none. Bar none. All right. Now what's happening? So let's take a look at this from the British Patriot. Things are changing in the UK. It seems like the British public, like patriotic British, have decided that they have no choice but to assert themselves now against their traitorous and treasonous government. The local authority asked a British patriot to remove his flag because it was seen as disrespectful and offensive to his foreign neighbors. Your own flag for your own country is disrespectful and offensive to foreign neighbors. Perhaps those neighbors should not be invited, or they should be disinvited if that's how they feel about the country that they've just moved to. I mean, doesn't that just make sense? Wouldn't a sane country do that? In response, he took his smaller British flag down and raised a larger one on his pole. Patriotism is on the rise in Britain. They need to be, because they're losing their country fast.
Take the flag down.
Well, I took this flag down because someone didn't like it. They complained to the council, Dawn.
Why?
Well, because that's what people do nowadays. They complain about everything, don't they? So you know what I've done?
What?
I've only bought a fucking bigger one. Look.
Oh my God.
Have a look.
No, it's going to be too big, Cole. my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
There you go.
Oh my God.
There you go. That is wicked, isn't it?
That is.
He did good. He did the right thing. I mean, I don't think they're at the point quite yet where they'll actually arrest him for flying his own flag. Maybe, I don't know, but he did good. He did the right thing there. Good for him. Let's see. So this is a difference in tone that I don't think I've heard from another British politician. I mean, I think that Farage has been underwhelming for British Conservatives. I know that, like, you know, the guys in the Lotus Eaters, they're not supporting him. There are problems with Farage. He still has got this need to be liked by the media in some ways. Like he refuses to talk about like Tommy Robinson in anything but negative terms. And he said some kind of dispiriting things about immigration, but here he is saying something that I think is going to be very appealing. Let's take a look.
You say migrants in hotels should be deported.
Mm-hmm.
Where should they be deported to if their country isn't safe or if another country won't accept them?
I'm sorry, I've had enough of this. If you come from Afghanistan, you go back to Afghanistan. End of. This idea we can't send people to certain countries, all the false claims that people make about their own personal lives. I'm sorry, we're done. We're done. We've had enough.
You say migrants...
So just that probably won him the election, right? He's in the lead. He's crushing the Conservatives. Just that you would think would win him the election. That's going to be very appealing to sane Britons, right? And you can see the game from it's always the moralizing, framing it. There's our glitch. There's our glitch, our beloved glitch. There it is. We're back. But you hear the moralizing from the reporter there, and it's always the same. They always couch it in this empathy and compassion and this moralizing. But what if it's not safe? Well, too bad, is what he's saying. This is going to be a very popular thing for sane Britons to hear, right? For sane Englishmen to hear. Don't care. Let's listen to that one more time.
In hotels should be deported.
Mm-hmm.
Where should they be deported to if their country isn't safe or if another country won't accept them?
I'm sorry, I've had enough of this. If you come from Afghanistan, you go back to Afghanistan. End of. This idea we can't send people to certain countries, all the false claims that people make about their own personal lives. I'm sorry, we're done. We're done. We've had enough.
You say my...
That's a should never have come here in the first place person problem, is what he's saying. So I think that's not going to hurt him when the next election comes along. But it's such a it's such a mess. Like the two different sides are so diametrically opposed at this point. Like what your typical British person wants is so opposed to what the government wants. Like here is the new there's been an update to what they consider terrorist ideologies in the UK. So from Keir Starmer and the Labour government, the far left Labour government. So what counts as terrorism? Cultural nationalism. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and a lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. So accurately describing the truth now makes you a terrorist in the UK. And, you know, these are not these two things do not live easily next to each other, right? So this has got to win. Right? What he's saying has got to win. You know, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm sorry. I don't care about your fake compassion, your manipulation. No, if they have to go, they're from Afghanistan, they're going back to Afghanistan. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Don't care. That is a very different thing from describing reality accurately is terrorism. I think that this is what has to win there for them to, obviously, to save themselves, obviously. All right. So I think the Democrats are determined to lose the next presidential election. I mean, they're going to win, state elections, right? They're going to win, Democrat mayors are going to win. Zoran Mamdani will probably win in New York City, right? He's a Democrat. He'll just win. But in terms of the federal elections, in terms of the presidential elections, I don't think it's looking good for them. I mean, here's Elizabeth Warren, right? So really, like, the federal Democrat Party should be avoiding people like Zoran, like the plague, right? Because it's not going to be popular countrywide, right? Instead, cozying up to it. Elizabeth Warren says Mamdani's plan is the Democratic message. The Democratic message, really. So just to be clear, this is the official Democrat message. Defund the police, release all the criminals from prison, disarm law-abiding citizens, seize your property, free child mutilation, ban ICE. Let's hear it. It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver. We're going to experiment. We're going to.
The plan, by the way, is to steal from everybody, steal from wealthy people, and print money, I guess, or borrow money. That's the plan. Her plan is drive all the wealthy people out of New York and then go massively into debt and ruin your credit rating.
Try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
Zoran, this is the Democratic message. So let's see. The Democratic message. What are these people talking about? Let's watch this. So let's see what the new Democratic message is.
Zoran is literally attempting to do what conservatives say, we want to do, which is provide gender-affirming care to anyone who wants it for free, and we're going to ship people, we're going to fly people in and pay for their hotel rooms, and we're going to do all of the Fox News stuff. We're getting ideas.
So they're going to pay for people to go to New York to get sex changes, and I guess they are probably most concerned with parents bringing their children to be mutilated in New York City, to sacrifice their children to their gender gods. So let's continue.
Fox News, I want to know. Do that. But most importantly is we collaborated with the Zoran Mamdani campaign.
But we have to note, by the way, they're wearing masks, right? They're wearing masks still. It is hilarious.
On his trans rights platform. And what we explicitly wanted to do was use the power of New York City to provide free gender-affirming care, and I say free in case insurance companies decide to boot us off.
So, okay, is that a populist message? I don't know. I don't know what that is. This is from Gad Said, when degenerate Zoran K. Mamdani wrote endless tweets that defy human reason and human decency, this was nearly 5 years ago when he was only a child of 27, 28 years old. Yes. So apparently he's changed his mind from his youthful craziness when he was only 28. Let's see. What's he talking about here? So the new Democrat message is abolishing private property. Let's take a peek.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? And if there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that people try and play gotcha games about these kinds of things. And it's look, I care more about whether it is preferable to what is going on in housing. whether you call it the abolition of private property or you
The abolition of whether you call it the abolition of private property. Well, I think that's what he wants to do. That's what it's actually called, right? I think that's what it's actually called. You know, as long as it makes sure, as long as they can get to a point where everybody is permanently impoverished and a slave to the state, he doesn't care how you get there, right? He's a man of principle. Let's see. What else have we got from him? We got something else that's the he's also it's the Democrat message. So also pretending to be black to get preferential treatment and I guess preferential treatment in college admittance. So there's that as well, because he did say that he was black on an application, right? Because the weird thing is, I mean, he must be dumb. Like, why would you put black down when you could pass for like an Italian, say, and get some of that white privilege, all that precious, precious white privilege we hear about all of the time? You know, God, he must be dumb, right? He went for the totally wrong kind of privilege. Or did he? Or did he? Let's say, yes, he was born a poor black child that so red, Mom Dottie. Oh, but he's just made good, hasn't he? Let's see. Oh, yeah, he wants to have police removed, specifically for high crime areas, and obviously replaced with social workers, because that would work out great. But we also have, where is it? Oh, here he is. Apparently also the message, the new Democrat message is seizing the means of production. Let's see.
The way that we organize, the way that we set up our work and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for, but that we are doing both of these things, right? Or whether it's the end goal of seizing the means of production.
There you go. The end goal of seizing the means of production. So Elizabeth Warren's all in. That is, according to her, that's the Democratic message. I really hope, for the sake of the United States and all of my friends down there, that that really is the Democratic message, because I don't think that's going to work. I think that's going to alienate more people than it turns on, I think. All right, let's move on. So I want to show you this, because here you have a detransitioner, a girl who was mutilated, put on puberty blockers, prevented from growing into a healthy adult body, put on testosterone, her breast removed at 13. Here she is expressing herself and what happened to her. And I want you to witness the absolute refusal of the ideologues, the gender, the worshipers of the gender gods. I want to show you their total indifference to her story and to reality, right? That it is just purely ideological. They really don't care about the actual results of any of this or the actual effects on people. They could not care less. All of the empathy is fake. Let's take a look.
And when I was 12 years old, I went to a therapist, Kaiser therapist, and told her about these feelings. And she immediately affirmed me and gave me a diagnosis of gender dysphoria.
Layla Jane says her doctors didn't do anything to treat her underlying issues. She says she suffered from childhood sexual abuse and autism.
I took Lupron and testosterone at 12 years old. A month after my 13th birthday, I had a double mastectomy at this very clinic.
Layla Jane says based on her experience, she supports Kaiser's decision to pause gender-affirming surgeries for those 19 and younger. But some of the hospital staff at this rally say this is a huge setback for trans kids.
More and more every day I put on this badge and I feel like I'm going to battle.
Okay, so here's a 13-year-old girl who was mutilated and was essentially abused by the healthcare system. Just total malpractice, totally turned into profit, essentially, right? And Yet the narrative is that this is going to be harmful, not mutilating children, not preventing them from growing into healthy adult bodies, is harming children. Strange. You'd think that stories like that would give them just the slightest bit of pause, right? They wouldn't just be full steam ahead all of the time. No, that's how you know that what they pretend, the empathy, the compassion that they pretend to is fake. It's not real.
Sydney Simpson is a nurse at Kaiser. She says she's not just fighting for her patients, but also for herself.
I access my gender affirming care here at Kaiser. I have a very close relationship with my doctor and those nurses, and they are so...
You know, here's where I really don't even understand the point of it, right? Is that a man or a woman? I don't, like, if you're gender affirming and nobody can even tell what the hell you are anyway, like, what's even the point? How does that make you happy?
Lovely. And so this absolutely breaks my heart, not just for me, not just for my patients, but like all of those practitioners who I know for a fact have nothing to do with this decision.
But what about those kids that are going to tell their stories later that you know exist, right? Who say, these people ruined my life. This was insane and reckless. You know, this was utter and total malpractice. This was these adults, these trusted professionals ruined my future. They sterilized me. I had a double mastectomy because of them when I was too young to know what I was doing. There's no empathy here. There's no compassion. There's no concern for kids in this.
Agree with this decision and now have their hands tied behind their backs.
Simpson says Kaiser policies on gender affirming care were based on research conducted by its own foundation. She feels there's only one way to explain this policy change and asserts that it's purely political.
There's no new research. There's no new patient outcomes. There's no need for this other than Trump administration, the Department of Justice subpoenas. This is a response.
How about what you're doing is clearly an abomination, that any sane person can see that. You don't need to be a medical professional. Any sane person knows, can just tell right away, right? It's just intuition or just common sense that the way to treat depression in children is not to mutilate and sterilize them and prevent them from growing into healthy adult bodies with puberty blockers, with actually chemical castration drugs. You don't need to be a medical expert to know this. I think that 99.999999999% of people all throughout history could very easily answer the question, no, that's insane. Anybody who wants to do that is a moral monster, obviously. And again, like, this is coming from somebody who apparently transitioned into Pat from SNL.
To intimidation.
This is my first time attending anything like this.
Gideon Cotting says his daughter transitioned at the age of 11 and is now regretting her choice.
Every person in authority has failed them when they should have pumped the brakes, assured them, and said, hey, you're good. You know, just take some time, sort it out, don't make any rash decisions.
People like Cotting feel it's important to let kids grow up first and wait on making any life-altering changes until they are adults.
You know, no child is born in the wrong body. Every child should be allowed to grow up whole and deserves adequate treatment for their underlying conditions.
The idea that anybody is born in the wrong body is totally inane, right? It's totally incoherent. What does that possibly mean? Born in the wrong body? It's the only body you're actually ever going to have. And it doesn't matter if some Mengele doctor tries to turn you into some facsimile of something that you could never be. It's cosmetic. Preventing children from growing into healthy, developed adult bodies is not a cure for anything. You don't need to be a medical expert to know that. Can you imagine the guilt and the shame that this man has to suffer now, knowing that he did something insane, that he failed his daughter? Because he did. He failed his daughter, and he knows that. Can you imagine that? Why do you think so many of the parents just go full, they just dive into the pool? They go full 100%. It's because the alternative to that, the alternative to actually recognizing reality and what you've done to your child is too horrible to face for them. This guy, you have to give him credit. He did fail his daughter, but at least he came out of it, right? At least he came to reason, right? And now we can attempt to do something positive in the aftermath of it. Genuinely disturbing. It just, how can it be real? How can these people spouting their gibberish be real and pretending like they're making sense, like there is any connection to reality, and being taken seriously by politicians and the media and academia? It's madness. Let's see. Nevada says some girls are tomboys. That's perfectly okay. Yeah. Now they're trying to turn them all into trannies. Now they're trying to turn them all into Pat. Rosie says, glad the abused woman is speaking out, said that she was abused and also medically abused. Yes, everybody failed her. Chef Rico says, wow, if it doesn't work, blame the parent. If a parent says no, HRM Gavin Newsom will take your children and mutilate them. Yes, they'll take your kids away. Nevada says, Newscom is such a piece of shit. Well, I think he's a vampire. We've been over that on the channel before. Let's see. Rosie says, they take the kids now. So sad. Well, it depends on where you live, right? If you're in a blue state, you're in peril. Chef Rigo says, yeah, there's a law in this fudged up state. You can say it. Forked up state.
You lousy corksuckers.
Let's see. Rosie says, I know very curvy feminine women that love boy activities, guns, hunting, fishing, racing cards, etc. It's why they want to get them while they're young, before they can grow into their bodies and become comfortable in their bodies, right? Because it's political. Like, it's a political win. Every kid they can trans, right? It's like, they can use it as evidence for their lunatic ideas, for their bizarre civilization destroying ideas. And by the way, they attack detransitioners hard. They go after them hard. They don't want people knowing. Let's see. All right, let's move on. Where are we at now? All right, so we have to make a correction. Last stream, we did see an article that said they had dropped the case. The Macrons had dropped the case against Candace Owens. No, it just meant that they dropped the case on Candace Owens. The case is still going, and I think that Candace Owens is still screwed, right? I think she's still screwed. Let's go to here, Dr. Drew and Robert Barnes talking about this. Let's take a look.
The actual liability is for Candace.
Actually, hold on. Let's make this a little bit bigger.
The actual liability is for Candace Owens.
I think she has very little chance of prevailing in the suit based on the venue, based on the allegations in the complaint, unless she's able to prove that the allegations in the complaint are not true, or she has an undisclosed evidentiary source that is persuasive to a judge and a jury. She basically accused Bridget Macron of being the father of Emmanuel Macron. So it's not just, people think it's just the trans thing. It's not. They're suing because she alleges about a dozen crimes, incest, rape, murder, attempted murder, extortion, bribery, blackmail, identity theft, impersonation. I've done a lot of defamation and libel cases, successfully represented Robert Kennedy, successfully represented the Covington kids. And what I've been warning people is the lawsuit is being brought by the law firm that represented Dominion, big libel law firm. It's clear they're planning on going after a bunch of other people. Theo Vaughn, it includes Tim Dillon, it includes Clayton Morris of Redacted. They even name dropped Joe Rogan. Maybe she's got, high-end French intelligence that has the super secret intel that this is the scandal of the century. Unless she has that, unfortunately, I think she's dead to rights. But I hope and pray that there's something I totally have miscalculated. So it's 0% under my assumptions. If Candace wins this case, it'll be the biggest miracle I've ever seen in the history of law.
Yeah, I tend to trust Robert Barnes, and I think she's cooked. I think she's cooked because she has spun quite a fanciful tale where, like, it's that she's her brother, but she's also like Macron's dad, and like it goes back. It's a conspiracy that stretches back hundreds of years to the Habsburgs. I mean, it's a fanciful tale. I think she's in a spot of trouble. I mean, it sounds like she's probably not going to get, like, based on the venue and everything, she's not going to, she wouldn't get a fair case anyway. But in this case, according to him, who has a lot of experience in this, no, I mean, she's dead to rights. I mean, unless there's some miracle connection with French intelligence, no, like she's guilty. she's going to lose the case. So and the thing the thing about it as well is that she didn't ever say it was her opinion. She made it very clear she was making fact claims about all of this. So I think she's in a spot of trouble. Right? She could have saved herself a lot of trouble by saying, I don't know, it's my opinion. I kind of feel like it. Don't you think it might be that? Don't you think Brigitte Macron's father might have been Rasputin? I don't know. So a correction there. OP misunderstands what drop means. The original Western Journal article reports that Macron's dropped, as in filed, a 22-count lawsuit against Owens. I wonder if that was intentional for clickbait. I don't know. Let's see. So Doge staffer Ed Korestein, known as Big Balls, came to help a lady in D.C. getting attacked by 8 teens. Hero. Yes, hero. Look at that. Jeez. In D.C. Apparently, D.C. is just it's hell. It's just an awful place. Very dangerous. Massive crime. Somebody earlier was talking about this and saying that Trump had freaked out. There was a big response from Trump. Let's take a look. Okay. Let me see if I can find something real quick here. Trump. Okay, let's see if something comes up. Let's see. All right, so MAGA Voice says, breaking, Senator Mike Lee wants Trump to honor Doge hero Big Balls with the Medal of Freedom. I say go for it. Ed Korstein, Big Balls, truly is a hero. Keep praying for him. So Big Balls lived up to his name. He certainly did, fighting DC carjackers. Now Trump's fighting back. Edward Big Balls Korstein didn't get that nickname for nothing. Yeah, he certainly didn't. He's earned that now. So now forever, he has earned that. Nobody can take it away from him. Let's see. Trump's response to this, enough is enough. Quote, we will take federal control if DC won't protect citizens who actually fight back against criminals. 2 teens arrested, but they'll be out by dinner thanks to DC's revolving door justice. Yet crime stats say it's down 26%. Tell that to Big Balls' face. Or the woman he tried to save from the carjackers. So, do we have... Here we go. Let's take a look.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in the terms of government and in terms of protection, or we're going to have to federalize. And run it the way it's supposed to be run. By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very bad.
That will, of course, be characterized as him being Hitler, authoritarian, dictator. You know, it's just crazy, like to witness parts of the United States and parts of Canada too, just becoming, like, for ideological purposes, just becoming shitholes. It's incredible. Let's see. All right. Let's get back here. Okay, this must be so fat, so hard for you. Louder with Crowder, Mug Club. Let's take a look. So what does it say? How I fly at 500 pounds. All right, let's take a peek.
This is how I fly at 500 pounds. It's crazy. Let's check it out. I am where most fat people are afraid to go, the airport. Fat people hate the airport. Why?
I thought you were going to say civilization.
It's very small seats. No one likes to go here. How are you doing today, man?
Small seats? Ever hear of the theory of relativity, sir?
As a plus-size passenger,
You don't need to tell her.
I
She
get an
knows.
extra seat. That's
She
why I
knows.
love Southwest. It is the best.
They give me free shit.
So, I'm about to go get a wheelchair, right? This is the secret to the airport, especially as a fat person. Most people are too embarrassed to get a wheelchair. But I take my shirt off on the internet.
so.
I have no shame. The wheelchair is the secret
Sounds like
because,
a problem.
one,
This is
you
a
don't have
man,
to walk
right?
a whole bunch of miles. Two,
You need the
you
miles.
skip the lines, right? Skipping the lines is the key to the airport. Three,
Okay,
you
fine.
get to board the flight first.
Pause
This
really
is
quickly.
the-
It's disgusting and all that. Okay. But I did one time after surgery have to be in a wheelchair. One time at the airport. I get it. It sort of crossed over and I was like, I'm going to be tempted to lie about this every time. It's first class plus. It is. If you're willing to shave a couple of decades off your life like this gentleman, I will say it's one of the perks. Let's continue.
of the airport. Let's go watch. Always want to make friends with your wheelchair guy. Take him to the moon.
Ah, he's your friend now.
So here we are in front of the sea of people.
He's
But
chalking
because
up his
we came in a
hands.
wheelchair, we will be the first ones to board. It's about playing the system. We're almost there. Final destination. I'm going to do what
Oh,
all fat
interesting
people are
choice of
scared to do. I'm going to ask for the extra seatbelt. Boom.
Yeah, final destination. He's the only one that death skips willingly. It's not that it's that people are advocating this.
Yeah.
That people are telling, hey, learn how to game the system. How about you learn how to contribute to the system? And we reward this. Now, like, there should be shame. We shouldn't be rewarding people in society who are deliberately consuming and deliberately draining while burdening other people.
I don't like it when the fat, like, intrudes in on my space. You know? I don't like that. I think that instead of giving a free seat, I think they should have to go in the luggage hold with the, like, pets and stuff. That's what I think. I think that's the most humane thing for everybody else on the plane. Damn it. I know it's mean. Let's see. What's going on here? These are some ones you guys sent me I have not looked at yet. So let's watch them together. I didn't have time to look at them, so I trust you guys, though. I can't play the music, so we'll just do this. What's going on? What just happened there? What the heck? Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Oh. Good Lord. Never test the call gods. Never testies the call gods. More like it. Yikes. Well, I am certainly glad you guys sent that one in. Certainly glad. Oh, dear. Troubling. Sits down at... Oh! Okay, let's just move on. What's going on here? All right, let's take a look at this. What's going on here?
2 + 5. The son of a bitch is 7. I said, what are you saying? What are you saying? He said, my teacher, she showed us how to do math. And that's what she said. I said, just to make sure I was right, I said, okay, go on. He said, 2 plus 2, the son of a bitch is 4. I said, okay. So I left the room and I called the teacher. I said, hello, are you teaching our children math saying 2 plus 2 and the son of a bitch is 4? It got real quiet. Then she started laughing. She said, ma'am, what I said was 2 plus 2, the sum of which is 4. I got to bake that lady a cake. Said 2 plus 5.
Okay, that was a good one. Another success from the chat. Nice work. I think didn't we watch that one last time? Let's see what's going on here. There's a dog having a good time. Aw. That's what we call a puppy palate cleanser right there. He's having a great time. Oh, that's nice. All right. Dogs are fun. Gotta love dogs. They just don't care. They just have a good time. All right, let's move on. What's happening here? Nate Friedman, 97. He's a national treasure who brilliantly exposes the most corrupt people and organizations related to the pro-Palestine protests and anti-Semitism in America, and he does it better than anybody. Well, let's take a peek.
Bro, they're paying you $80K a year to protest? Is that wrong? Is that wrong?
I'm exposing one paid protester for every 100 followers I get. Now, you remember David Chung, the paid protester that stopped one of my last interviews? Well, he saw my expose on him, and I confronted him on his salary right to his face.
Yo, what's up, David? Good to see you again, man. You want to talk at all about the last video?
Yeah, I'm good.
What did you think of it?
No comment.
Did I get anything wrong?
No comment.
You got no comment? What? How are they paying you $80K a year?
No comment.
Are you going to say no comment to everything?
Yep.
Yep. Bro, they're paying you $80K a year to protest? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Tell me if it's wrong.
No comment.
David Chung is the general manager of a protest group called the People's Forum, and if you dig through their tax documents, you'll find that David Chung gets paid $75,000 a year to protest. Now, you're funding this behavior because this is David getting arrested at these protests. Now, the police do their job, but very quickly he's let out and back on the street to protest. Now, I'm sure the police are no fans of David, and David is no fan of the police. Here you can see David Chung modeling a shirt idolizing Assata Shakur, who is an activist who murdered a police officer before seeking exile in Cuba. The People's Forum, the company that he works for, is the main organizer for anti-Israel and anti-America protests here in New York. They send announcements for protests consistently throughout the week and even delete comments that don't fit their narrative. Here you can see someone write "bring them home," and within minutes that comment is deleted. David Chung also has a leadership role at Rise and Resist, another company we've exposed for funding protests. The Karen Kazoo lady that I exposed was representing Rise and Resist, and they use Act Blue to raise money for their protests.
I'm representing the folks at Rise and Resist who have been trained
Rise
to
and
be
Resist.
smart.
You can see that they team up with the People's Forum often, and you can ask David any questions about protesting. Now, the People's Forum is funded by Roy Neville Singham, a billionaire Marxist living in China who is trying to destroy America from within. Yes, a billionaire Marxist. You heard that correctly. The House Oversight Committee right now is looking into Neville Singham, stating that the People's Forum, a Manhattan-based nonprofit which has ties to the CCP through funding from you. Now, David Chung and Manolo dos Santos, the director of the People's Forum, both serve in top positions at the Singham's Justice and Education Fund, which further shows their strong ties to this Marxist who's slowly trying to destroy America. More on that later.
And how about meeting Rashida Tlaib? What was that like?
No comment.
David eventually stopped saying no comment, but there's a 3-minute limit on Instagram, so follow to see the next part of the confrontation.
So everything is fake these days, isn't it? You know, so there's an issue which is seized upon, right, by leftist politicians, NGOs, whether they're international or whether they're local, funded by local governments, astroturf a protest. The media plays along, whether or not they know that it's what's actually happening, and it's a circle jerk, and it's all fake. All fake. And it always seems to be things that, because whenever you go
Bro, they're paying you $80.
at any leftist cause, what you see is an enormous amount of just anti-Western civilization, anti-civilization rhetoric, right? Why are the Palestine protesters in Canada screaming death to Canada? Right? Canada's got nothing to do with Gaza. Why are they screaming death to Canada? Why are they all communists? Why do they chant revolution? All of them, right? The thing that binds them all together is that the foundation of it all is revolutionary communism. It's Marxism. That's what links it all. And it's just all the more grotesque that really everybody's playing along, right, with this kind of charade, right? The NGOs, the politicians, and the media. And the goal is wreck Western civilization, it seems. Let's see. Let's move on. Okay, so no, they haven't dropped that. Let's see. How about this? How about just something silly? From WGN Morning News. So she's a comedian. Let's hear what she has to say.
I went on a date this week, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, and the guy said I look like John Benet Ramsey. If she were still alive. I was like, you look like the killer if they'd found him. And we had a fun night of role playing. So.
What are you even doing with that?
I think I'll see him again.
What? Hey, you have something to talk about, right? Holy God almighty.
I think he nailed it.
It's out there. It's out there, right?
I thought he was charming, you know?
God. So are you? Dan, give him a minute. So are you dating?
I went.
Okay, that was good. That could have gotten really awkward, but it worked out. That's funny. Edgy. Let's see. What's going on? Canada warming twice as fast as the rest of the world, report says. Oh, that's worrying. Let's see. Oh, but wait a second. Latin America and the Caribbean warming faster than the global average. Oh, so it's both Canada and the Caribbean. Europe warming twice as fast as global average since 1989. What? Uh-oh. Let's see. China is heating up faster than the global average. So Russia is also warming 2.5 times quicker. Singapore. So everywhere is warming twice as fast as everywhere else. That's even worse than we'd heard. It's even worse than I thought. Geez, I wonder if any of this is propaganda. Let's see. This is just a classic. I must have shown this countless times on here, but I'm not playing music. I must have shown this countless times, but there's no amount of times that's too much. Infinity times is not too much. Let's see. She's doing a Superwoman or Supergirl picture. Here we go. It's all working out quite well so far. And then, boom! Ow! That worked out perfectly. Perfectly. You could never see that too many times. Infinity times is not enough. This is just a nice palate cleanser here. This girl set up a petting zoo. And it's just nice. The petting zoo is her dog. I found a girl I-94 with a petting zoo that featured her dog. That's just nice. That's just wholesome and lovely. More of that. More of that in the world. Let's see. This man knows his donkey loves watermelon and will join him enjoying it. Every being knows where there's love, there's sharing. Well, this is nice. This is the part of the show where we do a bunch of palate cleansers right at the end. You know, if it was possible that anything was better than talking about politics on the internet ad nauseum, it would be eating watermelon with your donkey friend, I would say. So this is an interesting story. Why is the FBI harassing a 12-year-old minding his business at home? Can this be real? FBI visits 12-year-old who achieved nuclear fusion in his bedroom. This is really interesting, actually. I want to find out what the story is behind this. I don't think we quite have time tonight, though, so we'll have to get to this one next time. That's it. That's the last story. We're done. Yikes, 3 hours and 9 minutes in. We got through a lot of news. All right, let's get to the chat, and then we'll call it a night, shall we? Let's see. All right. What are you guys talking about? Are you guys even talking about the show in the chat? Half the time you guys are just talking about what you're eating. Let's see. No, not talking about what's on the show at all. Let's see. Apparently Turtles is a great fisherwoman. Nothing to do with the show, but that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. Chef Rico says, farting ice holes.
You lousy corksuckers.
Johnny Dangerously, folks. That's where it comes from. Chef Rico says, nothing wrong with the country girl. Absolutely not. Unless she has a dick. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Still fine then. Still fine then. Let's see. That's the modern world, people. Let's see. Chef Rico says, so no need to lop off her boobs because she can fish and hunt. Exactly. Well, this is the weird thing. Like, the really horrific thing is that, in a sense, what the gender movement is doing is trying to get rid of, like, gays and lesbians, right? And tomboys as well. They're trying to trans them all, which just seems to be, I don't, wouldn't this be a concern? Like, for like gay men, right? Thinking about, like, there's young kids who are going to end up growing up to be gay, and they play with the wrong doll, and all of a sudden they've got them in a dress, and they've got the date set for them to go on puberty blockers. I don't know, like, wouldn't you say, wait a second, that seems wrong? Like, it's okay to just grow up and be gay, right? Isn't that fine? Let's see. I think it's all very demented. Chef Rigo says, I like Candace. That's Candace Owens, but she can be full of poop from time to time. It looks like she really screwed herself with the Brigitte Macron thing. Because she didn't say opinion or what if there's a conspiracy that goes back hundreds of years to get her to be born a boy, but then become her, but also she's Macron's father somehow. What if it's that? She could have said, what if? She could have said, I don't know, in my opinion, that it could be the case, but she was like, no, this is all fact. And she really screwed herself. Chevrigo says, my ex-wife and sister loved their big trucks. Yeah, because the kid doesn't play with the right toy. Also, you have to understand, there's enormous, like, there is peer pressure put on these kids, right? And they get preferential treatment. If they say, yeah, maybe I am born in the wrong body, all of a sudden they're showered with attention, and you can obviously see how this would influence an impressionable child who has no idea what it's like to exist in an adult, a fully matured, fully developed adult body, right? Who has no idea what they're going to be when they grow up. It's really sick, right? Like, how could anybody say that they know what a 5-year-old knows they were born into the wrong body, which doesn't even make any damn sense, being born into the wrong body? How can anybody actually say that and believe it? I have a hard time believing that they believe it, that they're not motivated by something else. Utterly demented. And you don't need to be a medical expert or a healthcare professional to come to these just obvious conclusions. Let's see. Let's see. And it reminds me, though, this conversation is that when you subscribe to the channel and also when you like the stream, not only do you get the good karma, but I've hear this all the time, is that there is a euphoria you get when you subscribe or like the stream. And from what I hear, this is what the literature says, is that it's even better than gender dysphoria. If you can believe that, even better than gender dysphoria. Gender euphoria, even better than gender euphoria. And it has the added benefit of you don't even have to chop off your dick and balls or your tits. Think about that. All that euphoria. And no regrets, no buyer's remorse. Let's see. Let's see. What else we got going on? What other crazy degenerate gibberish are you guys saying in the chat? Let me take a look. Looks like we lost Chef Rico. Good night. Good night, Chef Rico. If you're still there. Let's see. Rosie says, I think everyone should be given a weight limit. So now we're talking about the 500 guy on the plane, 500-pound guy on the plane. Total weight equals body plus carry-on plus luggage, etc. You go over it, you pay per pound. I think that sounds reasonable. Let's make it happen, Rosie. That's a good plan. Solid plan right there. Oh, but here's the problem. Streamer says the problem is that he's a lazy bastard. Lazy bastard. Let's see. Radio Streamer says, well, those billionaire Marxists equal, we want to be the ruling class after the revolution. So talking about like the that billionaire who's astroturfing all the protest stuff, the Palestine protest stuff in the United States, probably in Canada as well. Well, I think they look at the Chinese system with lust, right? Because you still get to be the billionaire capitalist, right? But you do have to, but you are going to be totally connected to the government. So the government and your goals are going to be the same. But if you think that you're going to be powerful enough to be able to shape that yourself, I think they look at that with lust. I think they drool when they look at the Chinese totalitarian system, with the capitalism with Chinese characteristics. Of course, anybody who thinks that is a fool. But it's going to be up against the wall with you, comrade. But because commies don't share power, you end up with the well, I mean, look at Stalin, right? Look at Mao. Not big on it. Let's see. JDL says fascist, gonna fascist, always are. And by the way, I think China is now just like a neo-fascist government. Fascism was always just a sister, a sister ideology of communism. They're both collectivist ideologies. Streamer says she broke that guy, the comedian. I'm opposed to this. I'm opposed to the thing where you have to, not having qualified gender qualifiers on like comedian, waiter, waitress. Like it always makes sense. I mean, the purpose of language is to describe the world accurately, as accurately as possible. That's the purpose. There's nothing offensive about it. Let's see. Rosie says the guy on that airplane sitting next to that huge guy is warming faster than everyone else in the world, 4 times as fast. Rosie says the dog looks happy. Yeah, well, people were coming by to pet him. So it's nice. And she was probably giving him treats. Let's see. JDL says donkeys are smart. They are smart. They seem cool. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says you have said next time about the nuclear kid, multiple streams. I don't think you're up to date on the on what's happening with this channel. We are doing that every stream from now on. Eventually, I will do it, but it's going to be an unfunny running gag into the foreseeable future. Spambot. We will get to it eventually, though. We will. Let's see. Quit teasing us with the nuclear kid. Okay, maybe we'll do it on Friday. What is it, Tuesday? All right, everybody, you win. We do it on Friday. We do the nuclear kid on Friday. It is time. Let's see. Rosie says, I do not believe you. We are never going to see the kid with fusion. Bad Uncle Frank says, you fusion tease. I was having fun with it, but you know what? It's time. It really is time. We'll do it on Friday. Nevada says, I really want to know about the nuclear kid. Done. We're doing it. You keep saying next time, starting to wonder if it's even a story. I promise you guys, Friday. Rosie says, clickbait. The nuclear kid is clickbait, so we keep returning. I promise. Spamwatt says, let's see if Bad Uncle Frank gets gifted before the stream ends. Ooh, that's an exciting thought. Let me scroll down to the end here. Anything exciting happen? Oh, I don't know. It's a mystery. This is getting, it's a thriller. Let's see. Fusion tease. Nevada says, I think FBI has no idea who that kid is. Bad Uncle Frank got gifted a membership by Spambot. What a beautiful, beautiful moment. What a beautiful moment. Hold on. That's from Spambot fodder, people. And you know what that means. There you go. Best person ever. Is that the fourth one tonight now? Fourth one tonight? You know what that means? That not only is Spambot the best person who's ever lived, clearly, and all for less than the cost of, I don't know, a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. But not only is Spambot the best person who's ever lived, clearly, but the best person you can think of, your hero, most virtuous, the best person in all of history. That person is human garbage, is total dog shit compared to Spambot. And it's not even only once, it's 4 times. It's that bad. 4 times. That's how great, that's how superior Spambot fodder is to every person who's ever lived. Better than a sunset. Better than, being there for your firstborn child. Better than all of it. Better than the first time you ever did it. Better than all of it. Spambot, I salute you. It's nature's greatest miracle. Let's see. Spambot says a great way to end the stream. It certainly is. It's the best way. And it really is. And I want to thank Spambot again because it is an immense help to my channel. Like, it really is the best way anybody can help. So very sincerely, I do appreciate that an enormous amount. And this is like 80 times now he's done this. So basically a super supporter of the channel. So I'm very happy about that. Let's see. And that's why we had the negotiations over they, them energy, right? I had to take it seriously. Nevada says, I'm going to unsubscribe if he teases me again about, look, I said Friday. We're doing it on Friday. All right? I'm listening. I listen to you guys. JDL says, I like standing up to pee. Well, my advice to you is don't cut your dick off. That's my advice. That's my professional advice to you. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let's go to, there we go. Let's see. Nevada says, why does he leave big balls on the screen when he has noodles? Friday. I don't have the energy to go looking for noodles now. You'll have to watch the MMA. Let's see. What's the one underneath this, though? Is there a better MMA? Here we go. This is a good one. Lingerie Fighting League. This is a good one. We haven't seen this one in ages. This is a classic. There we go. Fun. That is fun. What's underneath this one? Oh, that's the first one. That's the first one I ever bookmarked for women's sports. Huh. All right, let's check it out. Good times. Let's see. All right, let me. Okay. I'm just going to skip to the end here because it seems like there's still a lot. All right. Spambot Fodder says, I do not want to get involved with Quebec. Oh, they're a little touchy. Gotta say, they're a little touchy. JDO says, Spambot for Prime Minister of Canada. I'm in. I'm voting. Spambot has my vote. Let's see. Okay, now you guys are talking about special magic numbers. What's going on? Rosie says, good on Friday. Definitely unfunny running gag. All right, fine. I listen to you guys. You guys know the best. Audience is always right. That's what I say. Let's see. And Spambot's talking about Friedrich Nietzsche is mucho better than I. What is that in response to? I'm losing you guys. It's too much. I'm too tired. Let's see. All right. I missed Rosie's vocabulary lesson. Let's do it next week. Let's do it on Friday. My brain isn't working anymore. All right. That's it, everybody. I'm done. I'm worn out. Okay. I want to thank the chat. You guys know you're half the show now, so it would be pretty much pointless doing this without you guys. It would be depressing, actually. But you guys keep showing up, so I'll keep doing it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, special thanks to Spambot for the special support for the channel. And I will see everybody, hopefully everybody, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time, Friday night. And we're going to have quite a show. Quite a beautiful show, actually. Beautiful show. All right. I will see you guys then. Have a great week, everyone.